Hey, look, Rumble's up over $8.
Not yet.
8:30.
Not yet. It's too soon. Let's
Hit 866 at some point today.
Mic check, mic check, mic check.
Check, 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 baby, check, baby. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't do the whole song or we're gonna get Counter-Strike.
Let's try this again. Checking the mic again. Is Tom super quiet? Am I audible? Am I good here? Am I good here? Am I good here? Am I good here? Am I good back here? Okay, bye. See, this is why I think AI is wrong, Brian. It takes people this long just to like figure out, oh, hey, they finally figured out how to stream. They're online, and then they join us. AI is like, oh, the people leave in the first 10 seconds. Like, yeah, who knows how to pick up a stream in 10 seconds?
They hop on, they see that nothing's happening, then they hop off. At least that's the general consensus.
They're looking for finance porn. That's what it is. Comcast. Hey, Matt. We'll have to look at that. We're going to look at that one, I guess. I am the original Napster. You know, I just realized I did not adjust your camera. So when it starts, I'll have to do that.
Adjust it.
So it doesn't show the chat window, it actually shows the call.
No.
You know, for a technology guy, I'm not very wireless. Matt's got stuff for you. AZRTX wants you to give him your 50-page thesis on Ford, too. You've got one. I know you do.
I'm going to have to get in chat.
Yeah, and then Matt's got he's got a YouTube thing for you. Something. I did not throw you under the bus at all, because I know you have the report. You got it.
Don't throw me under the bus, man. I don't like it under there. It's dark.
Just inviting you over to my house.
How about...
It's a nice bus. I got beads at the door.
How about... There we go. Let's see what Matt has to say. Matt.
If it was a Ford bus, I would be it'd be covered in oil, so probably not. It's an Elon Musk battery bus, so I get irradiated. I don't have to get chemotherapy that way. Did you see that study?
Which one?
The guy who we don't have a link on it here, but he did he didn't buy his Toyota because it's emitting RF frequency whenever the battery cuts in. He just said, nope, not doing this.
There we go.
I thought I wanted an electric car. Now I'm not so sure. I gotta get my tinfoil hat first.
Ford bus.
Would be like an E350 or something.
Probably.
It's kind of a van though, isn't it? It's not really a. All right, I gotta fix your camera.
Be an
10 seconds.
F350 frame.
I'm probably not gonna fix your camera in time.
That's all right.
All right, bear with me, everybody. I got to fix something real quick on Brian's camera feed. See, Brian just takes up so much of the personality that I forget to include him on things that are important, like his actual face. Let's see. Hi, everybody. Less prepared. There he is. Hi, Brian. There you can see his beautiful face and his lack of colors. How about that? Hey, if you're living in where I'm living in West Michigan right now, don't come to Holland. It's insane right now. Don't go anywhere. don't go in Holland. It's not good. 2012 Ford Fiesta. That's a tiny little car. You weren't kidding when you said you could relate to my little Geo Metro. I think those are small. It's the guy that made fun of me for having a Geo Metro actually drove one of those. And it's funny because I think those are smaller and lighter than the Metro was. Mine was a 94. It wasn't. It was actually a little bit older than that. But no, we went from that. My wife, she went from an Escort to a Ford Focus. It was a 2001 Ford Focus. We drove that thing until the rust was like to the point where you could stick your hand up and feel the carpet on the other side.
You like little cars.
Well, they were affordable little cars. That's what all I could afford at the time. So that's what I drove. I drove little tiny ones. Yeah, and Matt, by the way, Brian has got like a movie reference for everything.
Pretty much
movie reference for everything.
If it's not a movie reference, then it's a song.
Yeah, I don't have any because I'm a nerd who doesn't do nothing but work, basically. So we have we made some major moves this week. We did a quick stream, Rumble only, on Monday, and we kind of went through everything. So I'm expecting that every stock decision that we made on Monday probably worked against us, at least 10 or 15%. So by the time that like you guys get the information, which is right now today, you'll probably do better than us. Because there's some sort of unspoken rule that if I buy a stock, it'll go down the next day by 10 or 15%. And then if I sell a stock, it'll go up by 10 or 15%. That actually happened with Intel.
It's up 14.
Yeah, I'm a little annoyed by that. So we're up to 150,000. I know our portfolio thing says 122. There's some reasons for that. The market is... Normally it's irrational, right? But it's irrational to the point where like the money isn't adding up to the valuation that they're giving some of these companies, which makes it really hard to find something good. I much prefer a market that crashed 30 or 40% because then everything's on sale. It's pretty easy. Right now, almost nothing's on sale. So we made a bunch of moves on Monday. We'll go through some of those today. Brian's been kind of out of it, and I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. My kids were in the parade yesterday, and I hate crowds. So no, I'm out there sitting here like this. Okay, what's going on? What's he doing? Oh, that guy looks weird. He's wearing a mask. Why are you wearing it? Like, I'm being weird. So like that happens. I didn't get good sleep last night. We're gonna try to keep it lively otherwise. If you got questions, you want us to take a look at stocks. I know Ford is one of the ones that AZ asked for. We'll probably, is it AZ or RTX? What do you want? What do you want us to call you? We'll probably throw that in there. And then some of the stuff, because we did make stock moves, that I'd like to talk about today are conspiracy theories, macroeconomics, Trump offending everybody, what the housing market's doing, and a little bit to do with Ford. There's a couple things about electric back cars that are coming out and semi-solid state batteries that are hitting production here really soon, which I think is pretty good. So in our list... I don't know if this is going to come up. It didn't come up a few minutes ago. Oh, good. Okay, it did. So in our list, I'm really curious. Just go to the percent change. I want to see what happened. So this is the day change, the price change? No? Okay, all right, here we go. We're going to do gain loss percent. Oh, yeah, look at that. So unfortunately, it sold the most recent ones. It's up 500% on Intel. That's ridiculous. Well, let's take a look. So we made a bunch of moves. If you have been following along and looking at our stocks that we've been buying, I don't think we're actually on month 48. Somebody would have to go back and look.
We're gonna have to recount.
We don't remember. It's somewhere around year 4. But then all the stocks in this list we bought in the channel live on the stream, particularly starting about year 2. Before that, we used to do like a stock video where we would try to do a script, record it, and then try to do a bunch of takes on the script. And come to find out, nobody cares how eloquent our scripts are. So we do it this way now.
We might eventually go back to making actual videos instead of just streaming. But until the time where this is actually paying us so we can do it full time, I mean, we don't have the time for that. So this takes a lot less time to do.
Yeah, and you guys still get the same value for the most part. One thing that I would like to do with those videos is I would like to meet with the investor relations people, the companies that we're investing in, and just say, hey, tell me about your business. We did that with AT&T, and that was a pretty good conversation. It was more like a no, Tom, we didn't buy a bunch of yachts with that money. You jerk. No, it was a good meeting with Brett, but he kind of gave us the download on what he would tell most people. It wasn't really much of a Q&A. So since we bought the stocks on Monday, you can kind of tell which ones they are. We're going to go through a few of them. And yeah, you're right, Comcast. See, look at that. I buy a stock and they go down. That's funny. Good time for everybody else to buy then.
Yep. IBM, Comcast,
DEC,
PayPal. Those went down, but DEC and IBM went up. Coke went up.
Nike is, man, they still went up. So there was a bunch of decisions behind the portfolio that we had to make. So I'm going to get into the income of the portfolio real quick here. That did change a lot. We were at about 328, something like that, almost 340 bucks. It was hovering around there. We're now just over $380 a month. So when we started this 4 years ago, we said that we wanted to use the leftover household income from the U.S. Census. And we did that, which ended up being $400 a month. We set out to build this portfolio to show people that, hey, if you invested your extra income instead of just spending it on stuff, which most people do, this is what you could end up with. Now, this money's going to come in whether anything happens or not. And when you look at the next tab, when we talk about our portfolio performance, that's not actually included. Like, these dividends are not included in that number. And I kind of get frustrated by that because it's very misleading on how well we're actually doing. If you come down and you look at the positions in the portfolio, yeah, I saw NVIDIA's taking a jump as well. If you take a look at let's go here. Where's our dividends? Find me the dividends, Brian. Help me do it. There we go.
To the right.
Okay. Dividend yield you can see on the portfolio. Nally is still there. It's a very tiny position in our portfolio. It's more like, hey, let's watch the housing market is what it is. But you can see we're somewhere around like 3.5%, 4% on our yield. And if you come back and you look at the actual performance of the portfolio, so for the past 2 years, we're cumulative about 18.5%. I know the title says 21%. We're actually at 22% per year. That should be considered amazing for anybody who does anything with stocks. That's really good. 4 years in a row to be able to do that. We beat the SPY first 2 years. We did a video on it, and we had 2 people troll us like, oh, that's just you putting money in the stock market. I'm like, what? No, it isn't. But whatever. So now we got like more time into it. You've got proof. You can see it. Yes, we actually do know what we're doing for the most part. At least we think we do. We might be wrong. But no, this is the rate of return that we're getting. We got the income that's coming in. Regardless of the portfolio positions that we have, that dividend check income is probably going to be rock solid. So with that said, I want to sort something here by cost basis. And the reason why I'm doing this is I want to explain our biggest sale. Intel was, what was it, like $40,000 in our portfolio?
Yeah, I was getting up there. It was pretty close to 40.
And if it was me personally, I wouldn't care. But this is a YouTube channel, and we're trying to show people how to do this effectively, so that when you go to your financial advisor and talk to them about us, that they don't go, oh, those guys are idiots. They got all their money in one basket. It's like, yeah, okay. So the problem I have is when 1/3 of your portfolio is in one stock that has indeed done very well, if that stock swings in a bad direction, the whole thing could just fall. It makes us look dumb really fast. So I try to do this every year, maybe every 2 years, rebalance things if I need to. It's not often that it happens, because if you pay a lot in taxes, you're going to pay capital gains on that. Some of that stuff, if it's held underneath a year, you're going to pay a lot more. So if I only do it unless we have to. And at this point, where Intel's valuation was way past what their earnings were, I expected Intel to pop, because we did sell quite a bit of Intel. You'll notice we still have them. See, we got them down here. Only 2,000 of capital on them. They used to have a lot more. We used to have 10,000 capital on Intel. That's the cost basis. That's how much we paid for the stock relative to what it's been paying us. If you look at the gain loss percentage, you can see Intel here is still worth around $10,000. See if that shows up.
To the right. Go. To the right. Stop.
Eh?
There. 10,000.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's still worth about $10,000. What I'm trying to do, actually, it's worth $12,000. How about I look on the left here?
Oh, that's our gain. Yeah, we made 10,000 on it.
I'm trying to balance out the portfolio so that it's more durable. I've seen it where, I mean, look at what happened with Intel. You could wake up one morning and your best performer, like an NVIDIA or an Amazon or any one of the Mag 7 stocks, all of a sudden is down 50% without really any explanation. So in this portfolio, I'm trying to make it so that most stocks do not accrue more than 10% of the overall portfolio value. That's sometimes you might get one past that. Intel did get past that, and it got to the point where it's like, look, if they have a bad quarter, they miss, all this pricing expectation that they're putting into it doesn't exactly pan out the way they plan it to, which I think it will. I think Intel will do fine. This whole valuation and us telling you that, hey, we're getting this average amount per year goes right out the window. And I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that we're consistent in that. Personally, am I selling them? No. I don't think, Brian, you're not either, are you?
No, I'm in it for the long haul.
Yeah, you're sticking around. So if with this was like a more professionally managed portfolio, what we're trying to do is we're trying to manage risk. We're trying to mitigate the ability for somebody to pull out the rug from underneath us and take those dividend checks from us. That was the major. Oh, go ahead.
It also gives us capital to get into things that we want to get into. If you didn't have capital to do that, that's just sitting in your bank account.
Like timeshares and Enron.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
That bridge in Florida.
It goes to Cuba.
The bridge to nowhere in Alaska.
I heard there's one of those. I've never been on it.
Doesn't go anywhere.
So Intel, if we look at the cost base of the portfolio and we take a look at the overall value, we're getting paid about $380 some odd a month in dividends. Now, I know the title says how much we're getting paid on YouTube. We did get our first check. So after 4 years, drum roll, we made $120.
You got to start somewhere, man. It's only going to snowball from here.
Hopefully not the wrong way. So we did make some money there. Hopefully that kind of builds up over time, gets us a little bit more in a stable footing as far as social media goes. But the cost basis, back to the portfolio and what our mindset is here. The cost basis, notice how most of these stocks, we got Pfizer at the top, $8,000. We got DEC at $8,000. Most of the other ones for the top 5 are $8,000 to $7,000. Then you kind of work your way down. The ones that are at the bottom, you're going to notice that there's something that's missing. AT&T in particular is gone. So we'll get into that in a minute. I have kids. Hang on, I'm going to close the window. There. That way you don't hear screaming while I'm talking about numbers. It's more exciting when they're screaming, I'm sure. But this said, when you look at the actual percentage of the account, notice how most of the positions in here are under 10%. I try to balance this out, and I try to make it so that when something happens to the market, that we're well positioned to cover for that. Now, I'm also looking for something that's called like a value mismatch with asymmetric upside. It's kind of like a contrarian view with the stock market, but not quite there in terms of the way contrarians buy stocks. This is a lot more fundamentally based. So in the transactions, let me pull this up here so you can see what it is. And by the way, that means that our YouTube is paying us 20 cents roughly every 3 months for 4 years. It ain't great, but it's something. So thank you, YouTube, for that. Here's what we did. So this is Monday, and I figured we'd be talking about it today before we got into all the fun conspiracy stuff. I did sell Intel. We sold $28,000 of realized gains in Intel. Most of that was over a year. And we used that sale, and we also sold AT&T. The reason wasn't because we don't like AT&T. I do like AT&T. I just think that there's not a lot of growth prospects as far as the stock is concerned, and they were such a super lightweight position in our portfolio. I took 100% gain on that one too. So we had 360 some odd percent gain on the stock that I sold on Intel, and about almost 100% on AT&T. So we took that money and then we bought a few other companies. Comcast was one that contributed to why we sold AT&T. PayPal was another. A small percentage into Nike because we want them to prove it that they're not woke anymore. That might be an uphill battle. We bought Deck in case Nike fails because I guess Hoka shoes is just destroying their market share lately. We bought IBM because IBM, a lot of people get them confused as to what kind of company IBM is. They have a lot of companies under their umbrella. And there are a lot of big data. So IBM has some pretty good growth there. We added to Fastenal and then Coca-Cola as well. And then we threw in another couple shares into Nike for that. And then, hey, look, we got another dividend. General Dynamics paid us $25. But basically, the idea here is if you take a look at most of these companies, if I take a look at Comcast, because I guess they're dying today. Oh, they are. They're down 3%. Cool. So hey, if you're buying them, it's a good opportunity to add some more to it. Comcast, if you don't know who they are, you don't live in the United States. You really don't. This is a very big company. When you look at the historical value of Comcast and their earnings, we poured through all this on Monday. I'm not going to go through all the earnings on the finance because we got much more fun things to talk about than this stuff. Comcast and every single company in the list except for Coca-Cola and Fastenal have the same kind of story going on relative to what they were making 5 years ago compared to today. They're doing a lot better. However, the stock price has gone down, which is a little bit like GIS, which is General Mills. I thought it was Matt that wanted us to look at General Mills. Do you remember, Brian, who that was?
I do not. I'm going to say it was Matt.
Okay. The story doesn't match up to financials, and that's what we're really looking for. Intel was one of those stories. Like, they were trading below their book value. That's kind of like getting a mortgage at 2%. Who would not do that? Like, it doesn't make sense not to do that. In this case, Intel was like, if they sold off all their assets, closed down the store, you would end up with like 20% more at the point that we bought them. And all of the stocks in our list are trading close to that. So that's what I was truly trying to look for. There's a couple in there that aren't telling that same story. So if we go look at that real quick, go to positions, go to the transaction history. PayPal is much more of a growth stock. They acquired Venmo, and their finances are turning around pretty good. We did not buy more Rumble stock. I kind of wanted to, but their cost basis for this portfolio versus what everybody else was, they're a little bit heavy for the kind of risk that they entail. So we decided, I don't think we should do it. I really want to add more to Nike. I really do. I got to see the narrative change a little bit. It's kind of like Anheuser-Busch. They got to not alienate their customer base. Don't do that. So that's the thing. And then DEC was another one too, that if you just looked at their earnings per share on these guys, this is much more of a growth stock. They are just killing it. They're looking amazing as far as the fundamentals go. Eventually, the balance sheet catches up to that, and so does the market cap of the stock itself. I thought Intel was going to pop after that stuff showed up. But for whatever reason, Intel says, hey, we might have a partnership with Apple. They haven't even signed anything yet. And boom, up another 20%. It's like, what is going on with these guys? So
we'll see if it actually goes through. If it does, it might pop again. If it doesn't, then expect it to go back down.
Yeah, and most of the analysts that you look at for Intel are priced them around $80 a share. Some of them are $77 a share. And I thought, okay, well, they're usually trailing anyways. They're late to react because just like us, if we're going to share this stuff publicly, that's our neck on the line. We want to make sure that we're doing right. They're going to be even more careful than we are. So that makes sense.
But if it does, and Apple does use their foundry, and foundry starts turning a profit, that's a good thing. It's like, okay, we see this. It's actually going to start happening with Intel.
I looked at that. I'm not sure it's going to drive the revenue that they think. They're thinking 50 million to start. It could go up upwards of maybe $500 million. And they're thinking maybe once it scales up, they could get 2.5 to maybe $5 billion on that. And that would make Foundry net zero. They would not be losing money. They wouldn't be really making any money, but they would be flat, which would make Intel a profitable company again.
It's a good start, right?
Yeah, it took them, 6 years?
Especially if it works, other people are going to start using it as well. I mean, Apple will just be the original early adopter to that.
Yeah, they we'll see. I couldn't sit on a stock that's up 360 some odd percent.
You hate making money.
With the weight that it was in our portfolio. I actually do like making money, but I like making money knowing that it's going to stay there. Like it's not one and done. Okay, see you later tomorrow. In this case, these companies, we feel like Fastenal was very underweight. It's a really hard time to find a company like Fastenal. Another one is Colgate. Like these kinds of companies that are the nuts and bolts, literally, of the market. It's really hard to find a good time to jump into them. So if you have any questions on the ones that we bought and what our income is, why we did that, that's kind of the general thesis. We will probably bounce back into AT&T at some point. Just not yet. But all of these, I think...
Fastenal is really the answer to the thesis of dollar cost averaging. I mean, that's one of those stocks you just dollar cost average into and keep it going. It's
a very nuts and bolts argument of you, Brian.
It is. That's so you don't get screwed.
Oh, man. Don't quit your day job, or me either. So here's the income that brought us from 340 to about 383. For whatever reason, the cost of buying a used Honda or like even a brand new one went above $400 in the time that we increased this. So we're almost there. We're not there yet. We're almost there.
We could lease it still, but the whole purchase is like $500 right now.
Yeah, so we're, it's doing okay. It's not where I want it to be. But $383 a month plus 20% per gains on principal on average for the last 4 years in a row, I think is pretty darn good. So if you disagree with any of those positions, I would like to know why you think that was a bad call, because that helps us. It helps us out more than you liking and subscribing, according to what Rumble wants us to do, and YouTube as well.
Please do so.
Yeah, with that said, we've got a bunch to talk about. We have the gain loss percentages. I'm going to sort it by this. And you can see that for next month, we have, Intel is still ridiculous, even with what we have left of it.
Keeps going up.
The companies that we're actually looking at adding more to it, General Mills is one I want to keep an eye on. Campbell's Soup, I'm looking at maybe adding some more to them. I want to see what happens with the tariffs on steel and aluminum, particularly aluminum for these guys, to see how that affects their cost. I think that there's a lot of economic indicators right now that we're having trouble as a country and economically. And I think a lot of that's getting kind of swept underneath the rug. People aren't really paying attention to it. Some of it is demographic. Some of it is the result of the Fed's very destructive policies during COVID. It was the money that got thrown around during that era really destroyed the housing market, and it's about to come back to kick us in the teeth. And I think there's a couple articles we have on that. This is why I've been watching the housing market so profusely, because we have another demographic too, where boomers are aging in place because the house prices are ridiculous, and millennials can't afford to buy anything. And I hate bucketing people into generational groups. I think that's stupid too. And Generation X is just like WTF. But this is going to have major economic implications. And when that starts to unravel, according to AI, it's telling me like 2030. Yeah, we'll see. AI is like wrong more than it's right still. Thankfully, they're not taking over yet. But with that said, most of these companies for next month, we're going to be looking at the ones that are doing poorly as opportunities. And then we'll be trying to average it out. I may do nothing. We had it probably, what was it, about a year ago, I think, Brian? We were buying like bonds. We pulled it up to 8,000.
CDs and T-bills, yeah. T-bills.
T-bills. What do I call them? Call them something else. Treasury bonds.
You kept calling treasury bonds, which is different than a treasury bill.
That is true.
Yeah, we had a couple CDs. I mean, we were getting 4.5% on those, so it was better return than what we could have gotten on most of our stocks. It was very flat time in the market.
And in case you're wondering what we bought with that, we bought Intel. Got $30,000 of profit from waiting for 4 to 5 months. So
right.
I'd say it was worth it. This is why when I tell people, it's like, oh, I do markets, they're thinking I'm talking about Bitcoin and day trading. I'm like, no. If you pay any kind of taxes, day trading is not normally a winning game.
No. You'd have to be very, very good at it and really know what you're doing.
And have a lot of principle. You can't just start with like $5,000 expecting to replace your job tomorrow.
No, you'll lose it.
Yep. The brokerage will love you.
You might even get lucky and make it 25,000 or 50,000, but over time you're going to lose it.
Yep. Brokers will love you. You'll be like the Subway guy. Except for that'll be their fees. They'll make you slim. They'll be fat. Any questions on this? Ask us. We'll move on after that. But
and if you really want to know the in depth, go to Rumble and watch that video. I think it's 2-3 hours long, but you could scrub through it and see all the times that we bought and sold and why we did so. Yeah,
and it's a very there's a lot of numbers in that video. So if you want nerdy numbers and math and like kind of getting inside Tom's head, it's in that video.
Yeah, we did it all in real time.
We did. There's more to it than that still, but I mean, that's the result of it. So.
There's a lot of research that goes into it too to get us to that decision. But I mean, we did all that beforehand, and that was the sitting down and figure out exactly what we were going to buy and sell.
It's like 3 a.m. I'm like, hey, Brian, hey. Oh wait, he's sleeping. I'm gonna send it anyways.
You can send it. My phone's on silent.
How long did it take you to do that? When I started sending you messages at 3 a.m.
About 1 day.
1 day?
Nah, it was more than that. It was it probably took a couple times where it's like, okay, this is actually going to be a reoccurring theme. And it's like silent. I put it on the bedtime little setting. It's like nothing.
Well, good change.
Unless it's emergencies. Emergencies will come through, but that's it.
Look at change here. What's going on with this? There's like 5 earnings stacked on top of each other and a lot of market volatility.
They had to do it a bunch of times.
We'll have to look at this one a little bit more seriously for this month. We bought Comcast today. I thought it was a good deal at $25.56, but it went even lower. Yeah, Matt, when I buy a stock, wait a week and you'll do great.
Yep.
Especially when I sell it too.
Again, we buy our stocks long term, not short. So 2556, it goes down 10-15%. Who cares? Because in 6 months to a year, it's going to be up. Hopefully.
Under recover report on Johnson & Johnson. We will look at that. That'll have to be... can you put that in our chat so I can remember that next week?
Yeah, I haven't even heard that one.
We'll have to do an investigative Google search. See how that works. That's kind of like the one that happened with Nike, where they were funding transgender stuff. I guess that was a pretty big deal, and they didn't say anything until I think it was, I don't know if it was this spring or this winter. They're like, no, never happened. We never did anything like that, and they just shut it down after that, which, that's not a great response, but it's probably one of that I would give because it's not bad either. Damage control. So, what do we got to talk about? Aliens. We do have to talk about aliens.
But not yet. We got to talk about the GDP first.
We do. So here's what we got. U.S. debt now exceeds the country's GDP. Should we worry? What kind of question is that?
No,
got another
that's
one.
A good thing. That is good, Tom.
Don't get me started. I've been... Yeah, actually, you see, you get me started. Don't do that. Yeah. I've been in plenty of those arguments. Fortune.com, U.S. Treasury will have to borrow $2 trillion this year just to continue functioning. More than $166 billion every month. What in the world? And then we've got bond market on edge. Treasury yields spike 30 years. This is a Wolf Richter article. To 5%, mortgage rates to 6.52% as the Gulf War reheats. That was on May 4th. The comments of this guy are funny, so we'll talk about that too. We got forget tariffs. This is justifying the Apple-Intel deal. Could be the biggest manufacturing story of the Trump era. And everybody who's buying now is late.
They are late.
You're late. We also have United Healthcare to remove prior authorization for 30% of their services. Imagine that. And somebody asked us to look at Whirlpool, and I think, what did we say? They were on sale, but it was like inexpensive, going the other way. They call that the pricing in the premium prices. That's premium prices. Yep, so they're Intel's going on. Somebody asked us to look at that one. There's a really interesting thing happening on the south border, too, where these Chinese electric cars are kind of edging their way into Texas and California. They're getting caught, and the officials are panicking because the auto industry is so heavily tied to, unfortunately, government. We've got that's going on. Spartacus, good night.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, what are you talking about? Sun's still out. Solid state EV batteries will crush the fossil fuel fantasy. That's quite the title. And we also have Say Goodbye.
That sounds like a song title.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a love story.
My fantasy. Yeah.
Fossil fuel fantasy. Goodness. Speaking of that, goodbye to lithium. These massive concrete spheres are underwater batteries built to store clean energy. This one is interesting. I like this idea. So we'll talk about that.
But battery, not in the traditional sense.
It's a big ball. Housing market. Spring selling season is in tatters, and to nobody's in this channel surprise. In fact, he even has this like whole section, Housing Bubble 2. And UFOs. Trump is releasing UFOs, sparking renewed interest in aliens.
One of my favorite topics.
This one is, I don't know. We should watch it because I guess the CIA was saying that they had some big pastors, like pastors of big churches together. It's like, hey, we want to prepare you for this release because your congregation it's going to create panic, I think was the word that they used.
I don't think it should. I mean, if you're panicking because now there's life out there in the universe, then your God is too small, right? Like, it's the God of everything, which is the God of them too. So you're thinking way too small.
I'd also make the assumption that there's thousands and thousands of near-death videos out there, and if they're all lying but one of them, then that one kind of invalidates the whole argument that, God can't make life in other planets, but whatever. Republicans propose $1 billion in taxpayer dollars to secure Trump's ballroom. I think this is a fascinating one because Trump said it was all privately funded. All of a sudden, the Correspondents' Dinner gets shot at, and now we need taxpayer money. Got to make it more secure.
Yep.
So what I think it is in fact, we can talk about this one right now because it's NBC.
It's not taxpayer dollars, it's tariffs. It's coming from tariffs.
Even though he's going to pay us in tariffs too. Okay? How's that going to work? Yep. Man, this one is fascinating to me because what I think it is, you ever seen the Windows 95 screensaver?
Yeah.
I think that's what you're going to have to do just to get to the ballroom now. You're going to have to go through this maze to try to figure out, okay, well, do I turn right? The cheese must be over there. And then, there goes a journalist. Okay, let's follow him. And then you have to go into the ballroom. I don't know why they need $1 billion. They need $1 billion to secure this, I guess.
Yeah, it's a big, expensive building.
It's a big ballroom.
Big, beautiful, expensive building.
It's a ballroom. It's
a ballroom.
It's like, basketball court size, right? Maybe it's bigger than that, I guess. But holy cow, $1 billion? So
I get it. Why presidents would want it to be able to hold their galas and their, meetings and all that stuff with, if you got 1,000 people to be able to hold it, because the White House doesn't have any place to, fill that many people, right? So they want someplace secure.
South Lawn.
That's not secure, right? You're in the middle of a lawn. Anybody could just shoot into there.
How? There's like federal agents on every roof going like 20 miles south in every direction, south, north, west, and east. It's like, you're going to get through all that? Okay. Yeah,
you could. Just drive a big old car bomb through there and boom, everybody's dead.
Okay, Jihad Brian.
I'm just saying. I was just there. Like, I could see into the White House lawn from the fence.
Brian, they're doing a press conference. You're like, like NBC News in the morning. Oh, man. So for months, this is NBC. They don't like Trump, so you're going to get a little bit of spittle coming out for this one. But for months, President Donald Trump portrayed the new big new ballroom that he's building in the White House grounds as a gift to the nation, courtesy of the patriotic private donors. And by the way, no government funds, Trump told reporters in the Oval Office last November. These are all private individuals that put up a lot of money to build the ballroom, he added. Not one penny is being used from the federal government. It's 90,000 square feet. And then I guess now they need $1 billion for security improvements. What that probably means is Trump's like, hey, we're going to do this thing. And he gave it to the Secret Service, and they're saying, no, can't do that. No. What is that?
No.
There's no golden statues here.
Security violation. Well, you can't blame him. He likes them to hold big balls, right? So.
Did you just say Trump likes big balls? Oh my goodness.
He likes to hold big balls. And
he does.
I think he's under the impression that his balls should be held every night, right? Yes, I am quoting AC/DC, but still.
Of course, you got a song to go with it. My thought is, this has always been my problem. I like a lot of the policies that come out. Not all of them, most of them. But his rhetoric is just so... You always know what he's thinking, don't you? There's no mystery.
Well, that's some of his, I don't know, charm, but some of the draw towards him, because if you look at the things that he says he's going to do, he generally does it, or at least tries really hard to do it. As there isn't much, when you know it's not sarcasm, that he says he's going to do, he doesn't do, right? So that's part of the draw. That's why people like him.
Or they're just tired of feeling like they're getting screwed.
Yeah, he's not the politician. that's just say one thing and do another. He says it, he does it, or he's already done it.
Yeah, and you find out after the fact.
You just find out he did it.
That's kind of how like the Patriot Act got passed. So Christmas Eve or something like that. I think Obama signed that.
Oh, that was like
you found out after Christmas.
Yeah, they did that over, like, closed it all off, did it overnight. Nobody knew about it, and then the next morning it was like, hey, we got this 500-page document.
Yeah, and by the way, we can arrest you for really any reason we want. We can just kind of make up with it because, you know, you could be a terrorist for having curly hair. You know, I don't know.
Just got to mention national security. That's all it is. Okay, you're a national security threat.
Brian, if the feds come in and pull you out, I'm going to laugh and then cry because I'm probably next. You said
I will throw you under that bus, man. You're coming with me. Tom did it too.
Spartacus, that's probably a pretty good move. Did you buy it today? Oh, it says you did buy it today.
He did, yeah. A handful.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying, man. If I buy something, wait a few days, and it'll like the big investor groups will jump in and they'll say, hey, that Tom guy thinks he's kind of smart. Let's get him. So then after they get me, then you guys can buy, and it'll be great for you. I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do, but you'll be doing good. So, anyways, speaking of getting screwed, we've got this other article, and I don't know why I'm starting from the back. I kind of wanted to start from the beginning, but we're starting from the back here. Outrage as Americans learn what California asks people moving away for tax reasons. Did you read this one, Brian?
Not that particular one, but yeah.
All right, I want you to do your. Hopefully, you can see it. Okay.
Again.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to have you read this, and I want to catch your reaction because we talk a lot about taxes, trying to make sure you're doing things the right way, and like with your 401k, your HSA, when you buy and sell stock, make sure it's a long term, make sure it's not taxed ordinary income. But this one in particular is about what if you just decide to move to another state? So take it away.
You took off HDR, right?
I think I did.
Okay.
Pretty sure I did.
So the UFC fight, yeah, they could, but they're not getting, the White House isn't getting all that money. It's not like a charity to the White House. Like UFC will get some of that money too. So I don't think it's enough. It's not going to make $1 billion, but it'll make a good penny, a chunk. Anyway, Americans moving out of California say state bureaucrats are demanding they explain why they left or risk being taxed as residents. Some have received letters demanding various evidence of their departure, fueling fresh criticism of the state's tax policies, according to online posts. People who have left California are receiving letters telling them that they still need to pay California state taxes. MAGA influencer Mila Joy wrote on X, "My gosh, if this doesn't show how broke California is, I don't know what will."
Now, that is an influencer that's very hard right, just so you know.
MAGA influencer, yeah. The letter Joy posted was sent by the California Franchise Tax Board as part of the agency's routine residency audits, which helps determine when taxpayers officially become non-residents. It requests that recipients provide a brief narrative explaining their move, along with documentation like moving invoices and employment records to show the exact day they left California. So what is it, like 6 months? Because it generally is like you have to stay in a state for 6 months in permanent residency to get residency within that state. So
you would think it's.
I'm assuming
it's
the same. Yeah,
it's not. It gets interesting. We can skip some of this and get to. Let's see where is it here? Yeah, here's this part right here.
Another commenter claimed that California will go as far as to hunt people down who left the state years ago. They will literally go into your bank account and take every last penny for what they say you owe, and then make you prove otherwise, they wrote. While the requests have sparked outrage online, the practice is nothing new.
Can you imagine that? like, oh, I got a new job in North Carolina or Virginia, or, well, if there's jobs in West Virginia, I don't think there's a lot there, but you get a new job in a different state and you're like, oh, I think I'll move. Wake up one morning and all of a sudden you can't pay your bills.
You don't leave me, I leave you, says California.
Yeah, it's like Hotel California. The Eagles were onto something.
You can check out anytime you like, but you can't never leave.
You are not leaving, sir.
Look at you with a song quote. Look at you could do it too.
Yeah, the one song that I know, I just play it on repeat over and over again.
It's a damn good song.
So there's a few other states that do this. New York is pretty well known for it. I think Maine is as well. But the thing that just floors me about this is the fact that they can go into your bank account and just withdraw money. So this was one of the reasons why crypto became like this big thing. It's like, hey, they can't just take your wallet away from you. And I would caution people that have Bitcoin and have crypto, now that it's being regulated, that's not too far behind. Quantum encryption and quantum computing, being able to decrypt that stuff aside, the regulation aspect of that, they can, and Elon Musk even talked about this, along with a few other people from banks saying, hey, you've got until about 2028, 2029 before we can just jump in there and, if we need to, garnish your crypto, which it's a little bit different than the Tea Party they had in the 1700s. That's
So you better get your hardware wallet and keep it all in there.
Until you read your Microsoft agreement.
Then back it up. Microsoft agreement for what?
Yeah, or your computer. They can come in anytime they want. You're just using your computer. It's not yours. It's theirs.
Oh, no. You don't put it on your computer, man. You just put it on a hard drive.
I'm sure that's secured.
Back it up.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. If you're moving and you got some assets behind you, pay attention before you move out, because, man, I can't imagine them thinking, can you imagine if I moved to, like, Florida or something? I could become Florida man. But you can imagine that all of a sudden Michigan's saying, yeah, you owe me $300,000 in taxes. And all of a sudden it's just gone from my accounts one day. What in the world? I didn't even know they could do that. I thought that they would send you a letter and you'd have to like work with the IRS or something. I didn't realize they could just pull it out. You'd have to justify your existence after that.
Well, right. Yeah. That's the thing is I'm not sure how they can, they could garnish your wages or something like that, but pulling it right out of your bank account is just, I mean, that's a step way in the wrong direction. But you got to wonder, what taxes are they charging you? Like that from the time you left, or like, yeah. Like if you left in the middle of the year, if you left in July, and are they charging you taxes for the rest of the year and then the next year? Or, I mean, when does it end?
That's, it should tell people just how much of the system and why Palantir stock jumps so much is actually under control of people. That is a small little tiny group, and you're not part of it.
Well, then you got Gavin Newsom on national television in interviews saying that California is like the 6th largest economy in the world, and like whole countries make less than what California does. And if that's true, why are you doing this? Where's all your money going?
Yeah, don't ask them that, because they magically don't have the books. But they do have more homeless people than like the whole west side of Michigan.
They're not homeless. They're the recently unhoused. Because
that totally improves their living situation, especially when they put spikes underneath the highway underpasses.
It's completely different.
Yeah, or on the benches so they can't like lay down or anything. It's like, oh, we're cleaning up the city. Oh, okay. Well, who's that impaled guy over there? Like, seriously?
That guy's not even homeless.
Think about the money that went in to do something like that. Like, if you are trying to be responsible and trying to take taxpayer money and trying to do something to help those that are down and out, how much do you think it cost to put those spikes underneath the overpass versus funding like a homeless shelter or something like that to help get people either re-educated, retrained, maybe off the drug cycle that a lot of them are on, and actually get back to be productive members of society? Like, what what are we doing? Like, is that really the way to go? And I don't think
if
so.
we could put up, if we could put up illegal aliens into Ritz-Carlton and give them a stipend to eat off them, we could surely do that for the homeless.
This is where when I talk to people about the machine is very big, and even somebody like us, unless you got billions and billions and billions of dollars, you're not going to be able to dislodge that machine. You can stand on a corner and protest. You can hold up a sign. You can go to little board meetings and protest there, but you're not going to be able to change the underlying foundation of it. However, you can vote. You can, when you invest in a company, you can vote on those investments. You can vote for the boards. You can vote in elections. Mostly the local ones are going to have a lot more of an impact because those eventually move their way up to national or state or depending upon what you're doing. And that can make a difference. But when people think like, oh, the big, CEO is evil and all of that. Yeah, some CEOs are bad news, but most of the CEOs work for people that invest in those companies that say, hey, I am a board member, CEO reports to me, and if CEO doesn't do what I, as the board members say, we fire him and find a new one.
Right.
And the board reports to the investors. So.
And Matt, I agree with, I did see that. I think I've watched everything George Carlin ever put out. Brilliant guy. But I think you hit on the right note as the drug epidemic. I think if they could fix the mental health problem and the drug problem within the homeless, because we're not talking about the family of four that got fired from their jobs and, can't afford to live anymore and are on the street because they have nowhere to go. I mean, we're talking about most of them have some sort of issue, as far as drugs or mental health, and that's why they're there. So if we could fix that, I think we could fix a lot of these issues.
That's a Republican talking point. They talk about the fentanyl crisis and the border, the drug trafficking going across the border. So when Trump and the others say, hey, let's shut down the border, that's what they're talking about. They're trying to bring back the war on drugs and not doing a really good job explaining it. And at this point, I think they're just really not explaining it. They're just kind of going, okay, shut it down.
And I think it's both the Democrat and because the Republicans are, big no drugs, he had Nancy Reagan say no to drugs campaign so long ago, but the Democrats are big on mental health issues. So I think it's both. They're two
Especially
sides
in Minnesota.
Yeah, just like come together, fix it. One fix the drug, one fix the mental health, and it will clean it up. And then what's left are the people who did just hit on hard times and need a boost, right?
Dr. Drew, yes, he does. So Matt says Dr. Drew has some very good insights into the homeless and mental health addiction crisis. One of the friends of mine, he was an attorney for 30 some odd years before he retired. And he was saying that a lot of these people, like, not only are they not employed, you can't employ them. They physically do not have or mentally have the faculties to be able to maintain that job without direct supervision. So it actually becomes more unproductive than productive to keep them going. It's actually quite a sad story. And it's not one that's easily fixed. So like you said, both sides have a point, but none of the money's going there, which really floors me.
I lost a little bit of respect for Dr. Drew when he started to do those physical commercials like on YouTube with that dude that's trying to sell his physical fitness program. Have you seen those?
No, I haven't.
I wish I could remember the guy's name, but it's like I looked into it and it's like it seems bullshit to me.
Everybody's got to make money, I guess. Maybe that's what he's doing. Speaking of that, we have to, as a country, make more money. This big. So we've had a lot of prominent billionaires complain about this. We've had Biden's administration complain about it. Trump complained about it, and then all of a sudden he stopped because of tariffs and all the attacks that were going on. Like, he's got to stop embroiling himself in that stuff. Imagine that, a politician not get embroiled in politics. I don't know if that's possible. But we now have more debt than our entire GDP. So that's every man, woman, child, parakeet, and monkey and dog working in the country. We have now more debt for the first time since World War II. It has happened once before. But this is kind of what we're talking about when we say there's some storm clouds on the horizon. And for whatever reason, we started seeing this stuff 2 years ago, thinking, surely it's going to happen this year. Surely it's going to happen this year. And it never does. It's like they just keep kicking the can down the road.
Yeah. Let's print some more money and just make it go away for another year.
And somehow, because we got another article that talks about what happens with treasuries and bonds and T-bills rather and bonds, and like people keep buying our debt, which tells you, man, if people are willing to buy us as a debtor nation, and we're still the reserve currency of the world, able to print as much as we want, we're going to be just fine. But what does that tell you about the state of other countries? Like, it ain't good.
Right. I agree. I mean, if you look at the GDP of most countries going down the list, I mean, there's maybe 20 that are doing okay, but there's hundreds that are not. You know, there's a lot of mismanagement out there.
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Mass hysteria.
What if a Republican and a Democrat had a child? Political child. What would that child be?
Libertarian.
You think they'd be libertarian? They'd be like a Ross Perot?
It'd be the Green Party.
The Green Party.
Okay.
No, you guys should get along. You should really get along. It's all okay. Hug the tree with me.
Here you go, Tom. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. What movie? Famous.
Famous. Never saw that.
Yeah. No, it's Ghostbusters.
Oh, no. Yeah, nope. Sorry. Told you, man. All I do is work. You know that. That's all I do is work. So in this article, we have the United States debt overpassing GDP. This basically says America's national debt has surpassed the country's gross domestic product for the first time since World War II, marking a stark increase in the government's fiscal burden. No kidding. Debt held by the public stood at $31.27 trillion at the end of April, edging above the U.S. GDP of $31.22 trillion. Now, think about this under the context of Medicaid and Social Security. Just have that in the back of your mind. Between April 25 and March of 2026, according to recent analysis by the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, the watchdogs. I don't have any watch cats, just dogs. So
no, there's no watch cats. Come on, what are you talking about?
Dogs and cats living together.
No dog cats.
So what do you guys think of Uber? I have made some purchases and I think it could go a long way in the future. We can look at that one. Interest payments top Medicare spending. Now, we have an entire demographic of people called boomers that is making up the vast majority of our population and is also going to all be over the age of 65 by 2030. That entire demographic is going to need things like medical care. And if we are now more in debt to that than we are the medical payments for that generation, what does that say about what's going to happen with Gen Z? Not looking good. So
they're going to get crushed by insurance.
As long as we are the world's reserve currency, I think it'll be okay. But there's going to be some kind of a reckoning. Right now, it's not going to be like Greece, but if people stop buying bonds, especially foreign governments, it's going to get bad very quickly. Like, this is the Robert Kiyosaki, the sky is falling argument, because he talks about this too. Like, it's going to be worse than the Great Depression. And I don't know if I believe that. He's been very sensational, I guess is the word.
You needed money.
Years.
I don't know.
So yeah. So if we take a look at this graph and this link here, it says among other implications, at our current debt levels, overspending and the national debt threaten our future national defense and military readiness. Jonathan Williams, the president and chief economist of the nonpartisan, of course he's nonpartisan, American Legislative Exchange Council at ALEC. ALEC, how about that? Told CBS News. Case in point, the net interest payments on the national debt now exceed $1 trillion annually. AZRTX right now. You need to start planning right now.
Azerx.
Well, what if he's like Amazon Z graphic card RTX series? What if that's what that means? Or like Arizona RTX biking?
No, he's Azerx until he, describes himself and defines it.
He's our only viewer. You're going to offend him, you big
He's
jerk.
a very indebted guy. Yeah. Now, here's my conspiracy theory on Uber. Are you ready? Uber's going to be taken over by the Model Y with full self-driving, which will take you from your garage to the parking spot wherever you want to go, which is going to be great, I think, for the elderly who get their license taken away or fight and getting their license taken away. I think this is a great thing for them. But Uber and Lyft are going to be taken over by self-driving cars at some point, to where it'll just come pick you up and take you wherever you want to go. So I don't know how that works with like Uber Eats, where it has to go inside and like pick up a product and bring it to you. But I think that's Uber. It won't have people anymore. It'll just be self-driving cars everywhere.
I'm going to invent a reusable parachute that's easily redeployed with a little rocket pack, and I'm going to take after Angry Birds. Just launch catapults everywhere. I'll be a startup. It'll go up to like $10,000 per share. We'll start at $10 a share. It'll be pumped, and then it'll be dumped, and I'll be on the front page of Good Morning America of the guy who tried but couldn't because the first test dummy got hit by an Amazon drone as he flew over the New York City, and Jeff Bezos sued him.
So you're the guy in the 80s or maybe his early 90s that had the balloons that went up with a lawn chair.
We actually had that.
Shot him with a BB gun to come back down to Earth.
We had a guy that was here that did that off the airport before they closed it. Like he had a bunch of just, I don't know how far he got before they made him come back down. But like, what do you do?
He got charged. He got charged with operating not a vehicle, but an aircraft of some sort, because he went up to a certain restricted height, I guess.
Can you imagine the court proceedings for that? Show me the vehicle, please. And the guy holds up a lawn chair. I got this at Walmart. It was on sale too. $20. Who would do that?
The weather balloons were a little bit more expensive, but yeah.
Here's the U.S. national debt, $53 trillion by 2036. That is not that far away, people. That is what we are about to get smacked in the face with. So if now I can't say it because you messed me up. It's Azerx. You say it.
Azerx.
Yeah. So if you're talking about
Jordan,
when do we worry about this?
We are not going to call you Jordan. You have to give us a pronunciation.
Yes. We need a pronunciation of your name. Could be Airzu Jordan. No, I'm not going to do it. When you're talking about worrying about this stuff, this is a lot more to do with inflation and the ability for us to print money and fund things like our government's, building federal highways, or doing things like funding. School millages are a little bit different. That's state and local. But this is all federal stuff. So defense budget, Social Security, Medicare, national parks, federal police force, that kind of stuff, and like TSA at the airports, Department of Health and Human Services or Department of Homeland Security, those places, CIA, FBI, Palantir, which it's not really a federal agency, but they're pretty close.
Secret Service.
Yeah, and this also deals with the central banking system too, because yes, while the Fed is separate from the government, it's still very intertwined into how we do business and how we bank. So that's a whole different, how long could we talk about that one?
Probably another hour. Yeah.
A couple hours just getting into how the minutia of that works. The thing that you need to pay attention to if you're worried about this number is you need to put your money into assets that are going to accrue with this inflation. Don't put it underneath your couch cushion. Don't get a 2%, or don't put it in your checking or savings account that gets like a 1 or 2% if you're lucky. I think it's like 0.1 or 0.2 now. It's not even 1%. Like you get nothing for that. The debt is going to balloon inflation, and the Fed is trying to fight that. But now they're taking this whole stance of, well, maybe we're not going to lower rates anymore. Warsh is coming in. Was it February? I forget when he starts. It's next year. But maybe he'll do something pretty destructive and he'll lower rates again. I would point and look towards kind of the 80s to get this under control, because here's the problem with this. If we need to fund something, we do this. In fact, I got this next little link here for everybody here. There it is. Bond market. Wrong link. Let's try this one. Let's do this one first. Hey, Valley. Welcome to chat. So in order for the government, if we do not have enough money in the treasury or whatever to buy something, let's say you need to buy a bunch of bombs from General Dynamics, because that's a stock that we own, or whatever, like you need to fund the military, we have to print the money. Well, that money typically gets sent out in T-bills or bonds, and banks and governments and whatever, businesses, people like us will end up buying them. Those are typically long-term lower than what the inflation would be. The Fed's job is to keep inflation between 1% and 3%, just to make sure that the people who do actually stuff money underneath their mattress can't come back 50 years from now like, I own my own little country and there's nothing you can do about it. It's really not how it works, but...
No.
No, there's a little bit more to it than that, obviously. But what we need to make sure of as a country is that the currency is stable. We don't want to become Greece. Greece had no control. They didn't have the ability to print their own money, and eventually the debt just spiraled and spiraled and spiraled. What we're concerned about is that that's going to happen right now. So what you need to pay attention to is when we issue, there's something called the yield curve. If the yield curve inverts the 10-year and 30-year, it's done that twice, I think, in the past 6 years. I think there's been some smaller inversions. I don't pay attention to it close enough to actually know it right off the top of my head. But basically, with those bonds, that's what then funds whatever the government's trying to do. This keeps us in business. The reason why that we have no problem with the debt is because we can print this. We're the reserve currency of the world. So we print money every time we do. It's a hidden tax on every single American that doesn't have interest or assets somewhere in an interest yielding account or stock somewhere, or asset. Like a house could be considered something that normally on most occasions gains value. So long story short, the bond market's on edge. This is a Wolf Richter, Wolf Street article. Talks about treasury yields spike. 30-year rate moves to 5%. Mortgage rates to 6.52%. For the short term, what he talks about in this article is we don't see the interest rates on mortgages going down anytime soon. And there's some speculation that the bond market is going to go the wrong direction. Could talk about it. The only thing I really want people to understand is that you need to pay attention to this. If the government prints a bunch of T-bills and bonds and nobody buys them, that causes the rate to go up. That stuff is what funds the government. So if that keeps happening, you're going to see like 1980. What were they, like 13, 14%? I think it was pretty crazy high.
It was pretty crazy, yeah. But that's when interest rates were like 14% too, 11%.
That influences the housing market. And the housing market, in fact, this probably should have had this earlier. The housing market's already at a point where things aren't really affordable, and we've got a boomer demographic cliff happening. So if you're talking about like, what do you see in the economy? We're paying attention to this. The debt influences this. This is going to pick up pace because they're going to have to, like, what was it? What'd they say? Yeah, here you go. Here's the next article. I'm going to kind of bounce between these three just to have it make sense. Make it make sense, Tom. So U.S. Treasury will have to borrow $2 trillion this year just to continue functioning, more than $166 billion every month. Now, we are now in a record tariff windfall and a record tax season. because people pay their taxes and IRS gets a bunch of money and then they go after the people that don't pay it. I am not one of them, thankfully. I do pay my taxes.
They tried to get you to pay it twice.
Yeah, they did. That I about had a heart attack when they sent me that. It's like, I already gave you 130,000. Like, you don't have it. I can pay me all that more. You don't have that much money. But anyways, right here we've got the $166 billion just a function. So this is what the Fed is probably going to produce in bonds and T-bills. It's got to come from somewhere, right? You can't just be like, oh, I don't have any money, so they're going to have a debt ceiling, a couple of debt ceiling arguments, but this $166 billion is going to get printed and go into something. Every time that happens, the dollars that you have stuff underneath your mattress become taxed. They're worth less.
Keep in mind also that this is the U.S. Treasury we're talking about, not the Federal Reserve.
Correct. But they got to get the money somehow.
Right.
This is where the debt ceiling arguments come into play, and then that's where thank you for explaining that.
Yep.
So
then we could get into M1, M2 money supply.
Oh, goodness. We did that 2 years ago, I think.
We did. Yeah. That was before anybody was watching. So
yeah, maybe we'll have to get into that a little bit more and how that affects the repo market and reserve currency swaps and foreign government exchanges. And there's a lot to this.
That'll be another 4-hour conversation. Yeah, and I want to mention, because Valley said the title is shocking. And yes, it is shocking. It's shocking how long it is. I think it used like every single amount of words and characters that you could actually put in a YouTube title, but it's there.
Valet, we did talk about it. We did a Rumble only stream on Monday. And then early on in this stream, I kind of gave my idea behind it, but we actually did. I'll show you that real quick.
And Valet, I know you're a YouTube guy, but go to Rumble, sign up if you haven't, and go follow us there. But we did it only there, and we talked about why we sold. We didn't sell all of Intel. We sold a big chunk of it to fund other stocks.
And Vele, I would contend that Intel is great, but I don't think it's the GOAT of our portfolio. This is the GOAT. Performance. Where am I? I gotta go to find performance. There it is. I'm right over it. Hey, look, we have no rate of return. There it is. Oh, nothing. Look at that. It's
your internet is getting sucked by the stream.
It is. So you can see, hey, look, 33%, 22%, 25%. The GOAT of our portfolio is about 20% gains per year. If you take that out over 20 years, this is what you care about. You care about two things: the average rate of return year over year and how sturdy this number is. You care about this number right there. That's what you look at.
Not any one stock should be a GOAT in our. I mean, we're not looking to buy it on Nvidia and have it go up 1,000%. If it happens, it happens. I mean,
well, he's not. I am. I want that every stock I buy.
That's great.
Everyone, no mistakes.
But then when it's up, you sell it, and you could buy other stocks that are depressed. You know.
Yep. Especially because, like, what if we're wrong? It could be the Michael Burry. You pick one good stock, everybody thinks you're a genius, and the next 8 years that go by, you pick nothing that's good. Like, you got it right once. How many times do you think you can keep doing that?
He's done it twice. He's done it at least twice.
Mm-hmm. And he made enough money on the first one where he didn't have to worry about working too much. The reason why I say go is the short time return is crazy. Normally, you guys locked in for years. We are, but also remember too.
We were locked in for years. I mean, we bought Intel a while when it was like down. It was down forever. We just saw that eventually it's going to bring Foundry up. If that happens, then there's a chance that it's going to go up, and it did.
You can see this with a lot of our stocks too. It's called a value mismatch play. So the ones that we look at that don't look like they're relative to their history are really trading very well. We look for those and we buy those and we hold on to them for tax reasons as long as humanly possible.
And we still have Intel. It's not like we sold it all.
Yeah,
there's only two I think that we sold. Honda and
we sold Solventum, we sold Honda.
Solventum and the bank.
Comerica, yep, we sold
Comerica,
them.
Which we
sold AT&T, we sold AT&T.
Yeah.
And there was one
that
other,
was just recently.
Kenvue, I think Johnson & Johnson split. I think Kimberly-Clark's buying Kenvue was the other one we did. So it's not often that we do, but there's good reasons for why we do it. If you got a financial advisor, just vet them against us. We're diversifying.
We are not your financial advisors. Please seek the advice of a professional.
That's not nasally enough.
We are just two idiots on the internet.
We do this just because we like to get robbed.
Because we're tired of doing IT work.
We're tired of being thankless IT guys crawling underneath people's desks. This still doesn't pay us, so we'll still crawl underneath the desks for a while longer.
I also remember during when you picked and how much you guys doubled down, and I remember you guys wanted to double more, but you chose safety overall, and one each month you guys invested. Yeah, we did keep putting it in.
Yeah, we did that with 3M. I've done that with a few stocks. It's about, if you want to get my average, it's usually 1 or 2 per year that do that. I would contend that the stocks this year that could do that in our portfolio, there's probably 3 or 4 of them that could do that again. Comcast is actually one that I think could double, but I don't know how quickly that'll be. That's a giant. You're asking the Titanic to turn around with that one. Intel was a very unique exception case, but it's not the only exception you'll ever run into. That's the same thing with like the housing market. If you ever shop for a car, for a house, you think, oh, I missed it. There's always another one. There will always be another deal. You didn't miss it. If you're in this for the long haul, and if you understand what T-bills are, what bonds are, what the Fed does, how the government works with the dollars, the reserve currency, the fact that the whole world uses it, the fact that we still don't have a shortage of people buying government debt, I think you're going to do just fine. The point I was trying to make, going back to this stuff here, with this bond market on the edge, you can see the 30-year Treasury yield chart. You can see the 10-year yield chart. You don't ever want those to become inverted. Short-term and long-term treasuries, that's usually a bad sign.
Why don't you explain to the folks what inverted means?
Where the long-term rates go under the short-term rates. So like short-term treasury T-bills or bonds give you a better rate than the long-term ones. Usually that's a sign of economic distress. Because anybody who bought a bond that was a long yield is now eating their own lunch, and that's not a good thing. Is that a word to say? Eating their own lunch? No,
I don't think
that doesn't make sense.
I don't know how they.
We're going to say that though. Eating their own lunch.
I think they understand what you mean, though.
Yeah, they're not having a good day, basically. So, why does that matter? Well, things need to be affordable. People need to be able to, in the United States, anyways, have debt coming out of their rear. For whatever reason, the United States is a debtor nation, and even the people in the everything is on payments. I love how when you're looking for a car, they don't show you the actual price of the car. It's like, you can have this for $300 a month. It's like, yeah, but how much is the car? $300 a month. They says, no. How much is the car?
For how many years? For 5 years.
For the rest of your life. It's $300 a month. It's pretty ridiculous. Because by the time you're done paying off some of the $300 a month payments, it's like the car is falling apart.
But that's $60,000. How much is the car? Oh, the car is $38,000.
Yeah, and it's kind of like that with government debt, where we need to finance the military. We need to finance, well, I would say Social Security, but that's not really how that works. But the federal government needs to be able to function. They need to be able to run, so they will borrow to do that, and the Fed will help us by printing money and doing nice things like making sure that the other central banks fall in line. There are many of them. Essentially, if things are not affordable, rates can adjust to keep things from spiraling way out of control. There's only been a few times in history that there's been a run on the banks when it got way out of control. Maybe we could be super prepared and talk about this in a dedicated session, or even do like a recorded video, explain this is actually how this works. The long story short is government needs to borrow a lot of money every month to make sure that they can keep operating, because, as we've shown earlier, right now our debt exceeds our GDP. That's really bad. And we need to make sure that when we issue that debt, that when there's T-bills coming out or there's bonds, government bonds, whatever it is, that there are buyers for that. If there are no buyers, we get into a big problem very quickly, because right now things are already at the point, if we go back to the housing market, which I don't think, no, I did not post that one. Let me make sure I got all three here. Treasury expected to borrow $2 trillion. We got the bond market, and we do not have the housing one. All right, so this is the housing article. The spring is typically oh, sorry, Brian, go ahead.
As I said, I think one thing we don't want is for the U.S. government to default.
No.
Right? So.
No. We had a AAA plus credit rating, and now it's like AA.
It went down.
Before you know it, we're going to have like D, double D batteries.
No, that's not good.
Wet t-shirt, debt, double Ds.
Then people stop investing.
Yeah, that's a big problem. When that happens and there are no buyers, we raise the rates all the way up as high as we can, and there's still no buyers. Can you imagine like not getting paid? You know,
that'd be terrible.
Serving your country.
Especially if you make $4,000 a month and your bills are $4,600 a month, so you're $600 in debt every month, and that builds up, and then you don't get a paycheck at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, boom. I mean, you're gonna go bankrupt after a while. You're either gonna have to change your ways, or you're gonna file for bankruptcy.
Now, the federal government can't technically go bankrupt like a local government can.
No.
That's also why we have the reserve currency. But the thing that, like, I would say AZRTX to look out for in this note is that if you want to make sure that you're going to be okay, the big takeaway from this, there's going to be a lot of inflation, and it's going to start ramping up very quickly. It's not going to show up the way people expect it, though, because the housing market is right now unaffordable. So you're going to see housing prices finally come back to somewhat of a sane level. It's going to be a slow rolling train wreck, though, where certain assets are just going to be ridiculously expensive, and other things are just going to be like, oh, what are you talking about inflation? Inflation's not really here. The house, I just bought a house for $300,000. It was $600,000 a couple of years ago.
So what he's saying is, AZRX, invest in the stocks that we discuss. Watch your discretion spending, and make sure that you bide your time. So when this does happen, you'll be able to just put money into whatever is on fire at that time, and then you'll be good. Discretional spending is like the big thing, especially if you get raises. Like, don't float your lifestyle creep just because you got more money.
Yeah, don't shop for projectors or tractors religiously like I do.
Yeah.
Crazy. It doesn't always work out good unless you're old and you got nothing else to lose, like me. No, pending home sales chart here. I want to show people this. People thought that the inflation was going to cool, the rates were going to come down, that the houses were going to become a little bit more affordable just based on the interest. That's not what happened. The thing in this chart, if you read this Wolf Street article, that I want people to pay attention to is in 2011, look at the pending home sales index. This is when everybody knew there was a recession coming. Look at where it has been since 2023. Now keep in mind, the average person in my area of buying a house is over the age of 48. Demographically, millennials are having less than 2 children per household. What's going to happen with the housing market in the next 10 years, which is underpinning most people's net worth in the country? Like most people, unless you're in the top 10%, in fact, even if you're in the top 10%, your net worth is in your house. So there's going to be a bit of a come to Jesus number with people who think that they're millionaires and they're not actually millionaires. And it's going to be unraveling like a slow rolling train wreck. Where I don't think it's going to be a problem is I think they've issued, $750 billion of T-bills and bonds. They just released those a few weeks ago, and there was no shortage of buyers. So the issue that we're having here if you zoom way out, look at macroeconomics, other countries are having the same problems. In fact, there's only a few countries that are having demographic growth to compensate for this. So when I'm talking doom and gloom economically, keep in mind that it is much more of a global economy than people think. And I also think that what we're experiencing here might be a slow rolling train wreck, but if it's here, it's like a train that went off a cliff and then hit a boat at the bottom that was already on fire, and the boat sank to the bottom of the channel, which was then soaked in oil, and then a plane crashed into that, and then that blew up and caused a giant oil slick that killed all the dolphins and whales and caused all the green people to like protest and angry. So, no, it's like the other countries are not doing very well.
One, I got 2 points here. One,
go for it.
Is that supposed to make me feel better? I don't know. And two, you tell stories like you're a child.
I have to tell stories like I'm a child because I am a big man child, right?
You are. Yeah, that doesn't make me feel any better that the countries are doing worse off than we are.
Well, we talked about this. If you looked at what's going on in Japan, and hold on this 1 second. I got to get my hot air out of my head outside. I got to move the computer down to my server room.
There you go.
It gets so hot.
Get a portable AC unit in there.
I just cool down the whole house. The way my wife is freezing cold and my kids are like, Daddy, why is it like icicles on the ceiling? I don't know.
Because I'm hot.
Because I talk too much. Deal with it. Builds character. So, long story short, as long as we're able to print money, we're going to be fine. If you invest in companies, like Brian says, that gives you a good product and pay dividend based on the profits from that product, you should be fine. Where you're going to see a big problem, and Spartacus, you just nailed it. Countries that cannot print their own currency and use it as a trade currency around the world, they can't print money like us. They're going to be struggling if their balance sheets are not in good straits. And there's quite a few countries in the EU, Portugal's one of them, that's going to have some pretty big problems. Demographics are going to play a part of this. So I don't have a crystal ball how it's all going to unfold. Trump is doing a lot of things locally to the United States that's going to help the United States. But you know, if he gets some other election happens, he gets kicked out, new guy comes in or new girl comes in, and all of a sudden we have different policies and they undo everything that was done before. Could go right back to the way it was with Biden. So I don't have that crystal ball. But what I will say is that you're going to have to pay attention to inflation. And if you wanted to buy a house, this would be my other piece of advice. Be patient. There's going to be some deals like the car market. And
that's the key in a lot of things is be patient.
Yeah, be patient. You're not going to miss out. Refinance mortgage applications. I mean, look how low these numbers are. These are... It's not doing great. And you can see here, this is what the Fed did. When I talked about the Fed reckless policy back early 2020, this is what happened. You can see it. It's a
I'm
nice
not even on that. I'm like down. Because I'm 2.25, so I'm like off that chart.
Oh, you are? Okay, this is last chart. It's a refinance mortgage application index. So then the average 30-year mortgage rate. Now, the crazy thing to me is when you look at this, 6 and 7%, it's kind of average. You go back in time, it's not a super crazy high rate. It's the affordability that's the problem.
People are looking at it that it's like super high, but it's not. I mean, 5% is generally where it's been if you average out over the last 50 years, right? I mean, sometimes it's higher, sometimes lower. We just got spoiled from 2008 to 2021 with 3% or under interest rates, right?
We have more.
I sold one. What'd you sell? You sold a house last year, Spartacus?
Good time to sell, man.
Yeah. How many houses you got? Hopefully you got more.
It's like, 36.
Now, I wonder what the value of the dollar is versus the Portugal, whatever it is there. We could go buy a bunch of houses.
Italy actually is trying to encourage younger people to move in by giving people homes that are vacant and been sitting vacant for a really long time for like $1. Spain is doing the same thing, I believe. They're trying to get the younger people. I don't think it's $1, but they're trying to move people in. Japan's doing the same thing.
I was going to say, the article you had about Japan, we could go over and if they'd let us buy all the rural houses.
I'm not sure what it is. I like their architecture.
A town out there, and we could have our own town.
We could put those creepy little dolls that they had in that one article. The video.
Forest. The suicide forest.
Yeah, no, thank you. So I don't remember if it was Vele or Spartacus, but one of you guys asked us to take a look at the Whirlpool stock some time ago.
We're finally getting to it. So forget tariffs. An Apple Intel deal could be the biggest manufacturing story of the Trump era. This is the only thing I want to talk about with this article before we get into Whirlpool is anybody buying the stock now they're trading almost 100 times what their earnings should be, not what they are right now. Because if you put those numbers together, they're not profitable in some sectors, so it looks like a big giant negative with a bunch of zeros behind it. So in this case, they're like, you're late to the party, and I find the market's really weird that way. If you see a positive article, people will price that in before like any average retail investor will ever get any idea of what's actually happening. So what you're looking at today, I've said this before, is typically the stock price that you're seeing today is what they think the stock will be 6 months from now. And there's a lot of very smart people that do this on a regular basis. So don't think that when you read this, you think, oh, I need to jump into Intel or Comcast or what was the one that I'm trying to, Amazon. Yeah, Amazon. I think Valerie was talking about Amazon. Yeah.
Don't think that like you're getting some super crazy good insider knowledge. Typically what you're going to do is you're going to have to go against the grain, which is very unpopular to do, to find that value play. And you got to be real smart about how you do it, because they've got a lot more money than all of us put together do.
And to be honest, by the time you hear it from analysts, it's too late. You're already too late. You got to find it before it actually pops like that. That's the problem. You're going to make some money, but you're not going to make nearly as much as you would if you would have found the intel when we were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And correct me if I'm wrong. What about rent? If rent is increasing, the houses are too expensive. Would rent price be final blow in the housing market? And I believe the last time I saw that, rent and the condo prices are up as well. It's still unaffordable.
The reason why rent probably will not come down as quickly as people think is landlords are often leveraged. They don't own the stuff outright, so they got payments too. In order for them to meet the payments, and the taxes, because if you're a landlord, you get paid, like your principal residence is pretty reasonable. Anything that's outside of your principal residence is almost double the taxes. So if you're spending $1,000 a year in one place, you're going to spend $2,000 for this rental. So not only are you leveraged on the payment for that rental unit, you're taxed double based on the fact that it's an income-based property. So you're going to be paying double. In order for you to even break even, you have to meet those two things. And especially if you live in a place like New York City, you get regulated to death. So the margin that these guys are running on in very highly regulated industries is very, very, very paper thin. And there's enough people that flip the housing market commercially, or even the renters market, that keeps that margin thin. There's a lot of competition in that space. You could say, oh yeah, well, I live in the ghetto and my landlord makes really good money. It's like, no, your landlord's probably not making awesome money. He's not poor. But no. that poverty isn't because, or the lack of poverty isn't because he's just rolling in cash. It's because he's rolling in equity. He's got tons of money just sitting in there in the homes. As time goes on, that equity builds up. So the housing market crashing would affect the renter market, but I don't think it's going to affect the rent prices, because banks don't care how much you got the house for. They don't care what your payment is. And if your renters can't afford the payment, renters move out, you can't make your payments. Well, if the property's worth half of what it is, I think you're going to see a lot of people walking. I don't think you're going to see a deep decrease in rent. I think you're just going to see a bunch of properties show up with nobody in them, which is good for nobody. That's my take. What does Brian think?
I'm right there with you.
Man,
I don't have
concise.
I don't have anything new. You used all the words.
I used all the words. There's so many words. I used them all. This is as far as Intel's concerned, like I said, we talked about earlier, but like I said, these articles are all coming out now. You're going to see a whole bunch of them talking about how great Intel is. They're late. At this point in the game, I would say you need to look at the finances. See what their investor reports say. See if the founder's actually turning around. If it is, that could indicate a good repricing like time. Like maybe if their foundry's turned a corner, okay, what are they actually worth at that point? Don't get caught up in the hype because there's going to be a lot of it real soon. Could be good for FOMO and day traders, I guess, but...
Right. It might become another NVIDIA, who knows? But, I mean, it has to make sense because, sure, it might raise the floor of the stock price, put upward pressure like it's doing, and hold it. But if they're not making the money and the Apple, NVIDIA, or others that follow, if that falls through, then, I mean, you're going to lose all your money because it's going to drop.
Man, I want to explain the bond and Fed stuff more, but I don't have enough time.
Yeah.
My thoughts are not like preschool level yet as far as explanation.
Well, maybe we
need to simplify it.
We should write it down and just do that video and just expect it not to get views just so we could point people to it, Go watch that video.
Or just go to AI and say, explain it to me like I'm a first grader, because I am.
There you go.
And give me a sucker, please, because I need that to build my self-confidence.
Wouldn't it be funny if you said that and then like Uber Eats comes and the driver gives you a sucker? Like,
AI really does like me.
It bought one for you.
It makes me feel better. I feel better now. Thank you, AI.
A Model Y pulls up and an Optimus robot gets out and gives you a sucker.
Knowing my luck, I'd probably punch through my really expensive European windows. Here you go, sir.
Here you go.
United Healthcare, they were a value mismatch that we bought. Another one of those that I think it was Spartacus and Vele were talking about when we were talking about the GOAT of our portfolio. These two, this one was talking about being one of those plays. It's not going to pop like Intel popped, not going to be 500%, but it'll go up pretty good. Here's some evidence that might actually be the case. They are simplifying their administration costs. I really hope that the AI in the robotic boom isn't going to replace a lot of these people, because in the tech sector alone, there's been 120,000 layoffs. A lot of these people are the ones that built the AI, which I think is incredibly stupid to do that, but I don't run those companies, so I guess we'll see how that turns out. So here we have United Healthcare said it will eliminate prior authorizations on some outpatient operations, diagnostic tests such as echocardiograms. Man, I can't say that. Outpatient therapies and chiropractic care by the end of 2026. The insurer said prior authorizations are used for about 2% of the covered medical services. And when requests are submitted, 92% are approved in less than 1 day. So they're eliminating a lot of that. That should save them some money. United Health's had a bad couple of years, but they're in a space that we've talked about that, like, you can't just not have them exist. That would be really bad for the overall medical industry. Do I have misgivings about insurance? Yeah. I'm not a big fan of insurance, especially when they deny people. But you need something there. And they are the largest. So when we bought them, we thought, okay, value mismatch, maybe they'll clean up some of the problems they've had. If they don't, then we'll make our money and move on to something else. But for now, we think that this is a pretty decent buy. And we're just trying to throw in a little bit more evidence that, hey, this is kind of where we expected them to be going, at least for the short term. Spartacus says, could it be that the cartel joined Intel to the other 7? Just a new contract coming from one of them would make it rise even higher? Could be. I call that trading on FOMO, fear of missing out. And there is a lot of that.
It also takes an early adopter to do a proof of concept that, Foundry is actually it's working and it's efficient, and it's a good place to get your chips made. So if Apple works out and then Nvidia, Broadcom, or whoever starts contracting them, Google starts getting their Pixel chips made there, whatever, and it starts to boom, I mean, they have a chance of going even higher. But that's a big if.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a big if. If Intel joining the other megs, I'm guessing your cartel thing is pointing toward the Magnificent 7 stocks.
Yeah.
I think the Mag 7 is not a cartel thing. I think it's a lot of retail investors just jumping on the companies that they know.
Yeah.
Because I don't see a lot of like an institutional business. Let's talk about like your 401k for a minute. A 401k portfolio manager is not going to intentionally risk your 401k. Sure, there's some federal insurance there, but anybody who's actually professionally doing it, probably knows how, like, what EPS is, what PE ratios are. They probably know how to analyze a company, and they're probably also not the only ones doing it. They probably have a whole team of people doing it. If you're talking about like a Fidelity account or Morgan Stanley or any one of those, they've got people that do this stuff for a living. That's all they do all day, every day. Their job is to make sure that whatever that they're buying is going to not make them get fired. Like, it's going to make sure that they do okay. So I don't see this as much as a cartel as a market trying to just price in opportunity.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but if you look at them, they're all pretty much tech stocks, and they're all working in the space of AI. And this is the retail investor FOMO of not wanting to get pushed out of the whole AI space and just get in early to collect all those profits. And
yeah,
it's an echo chamber that just keeps churning.
We're in a really weird time with the market too, because like never in the history has the average person been able to just open up a Robinhood or any one of those other accounts and just say, "Oh, I think I'll give $10 to Amazon."
Yeah,
like
that's Robinhood started it.
You couldn't do that 20 years ago. You can do that today, but 20 years ago you had to call a broker. Yeah.
Say, hey, I want to buy $10 of, and you couldn't even buy $10 of like Amazon if Amazon was $250. You didn't have fractional shares. That was another game changer. You had to buy the whole stock, right? You had to buy $250 worth of stock. If you didn't have that money, you couldn't buy it. Now you could buy $10 worth of Berkshire Hathaway. That's $60,000 a share. Or no, it's like $600,000 a share. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they like to do their buybacks.
Yeah.
No taxes on those.
It doesn't make sense for them to do that anymore. Well, to keep the stock price, they did that because, not to get off tangent, but they wanted to keep the serious investor and not just the fly-by-night investor. And who's going to put $500,000 into a single share? Unless you're serious about investing in that company, right? But now it's just, who cares?
This is the first time in the history of the stock market that we've had this, like, really screwing up what companies are actually worth. And I would say right now, Intel's in that space. To bring the point home on why we sold, why we think that this is coming in. When you sell a stock, somebody has to buy it. And if it's not the business buying the shares, it's got to be somebody that has to buy it. Think about that for a minute. If the stock price is going up, it's a really good time to sell. When we sold it, 30,000 came in almost instantly.
Yeah, E-Trade and Scott's Trade was one too.
Yeah, if you try to, I had a Scott Trade, by the way. It's actually my first major brokerage outside of my 401k was a Scott Trade. And then they closed it down a few years later. If you try to sell a stock when the stock price is going down, somebody has to, again, they have to buy it. So if there's a lot of people selling their shares, the price is going down, you say, hey, give me my $30,000. It's more likely that your $30,000 is like 28, maybe 25. Maybe you won't get it all today. Maybe you'll get it next week. Maybe if it's dropping like when Russia invaded Ukraine and the exchanges over there started slipping, you never got it back. Like you could try to sell and you're not getting it. I actually didn't end up selling the Russian telecom that I owned just because like I knew it was dropping by 40%. I tried selling one share. It never hit. It never hit. And that's the problem is like you want to, they say buy low, sell high. Okay, but if everybody else thinks that the stock is going to go up and you want to buy too, you're competing. This is the other problem. If stock price is going up and you say, I want to buy it, well, if everybody else wants to buy it, they bid the price up. So you think you're buying it at $30 a share and you finally get your transaction statement and you ended up buying it at $33 a share. Like, well, what is this? Like you end up making less money. So you can't, if you're short-term trading, you can't discount that. If you're long-term trading, as Brian said earlier, it doesn't matter as much. But, 10% here, 10% there, it does add up over a long period of time. So I typically get really antsy when I see, like, if you look at Intel, I don't know if they're still on this chart. Yeah, here they are. I mean, just look at what they look like. If we take all the finances out, take that all out. Look at this. Wait, look at that. it's straight up. I mean, if you were a rock climber, that's
to the moon.
You love that. That is right up there to the moon. That is. It's not quite like a space rocket trajectory. They kind of go sideways a little bit to get over the gravity of the Earth. But like this is that's straight up. So, am I worried about missing like 10%, 12% because they popped the next day? No, I just think that when the stock price goes back down to its historical average, somewhere around, what is this like? That's the dividends. 36 bucks? Something like that. Yeah, $24 there, 23, 24. Kind of went up to 40s, mid 40s. If it goes back down to even $60 a share and it's on its way down and you're like, oh, I want to sell at $100 a share. If there's no buyers, like the bond market we talked about. So remember we talked about the bond market, Treasury, T-bills, U.S. government selling debt. There's no buyers, and let's put this in correlation to the stock that you're trying to sell. You're trying to sell Intel stock, and nobody wants to buy it. What are you actually selling it at? You're not selling it at $100. You're selling it whatever the first buyer buys it for, if you're lucky. Sometimes the business will do it, but this is there's other reasons why we sold it, and that's one of them. It's really hard to try to get your stock's money worth if you're trying to sell it. And here's the other problem: if the business isn't profitable, like Intel wasn't, I think they will be, and they do have a solid operation behind it. But if it's another company that isn't making money, and you say, hey, I want at least some of the equity, well, if they're negative, how are they going to pay you anything? You get nothing back. You get a big fat zero. So when I see this, red flags go off. I don't like it. Man, I'm on a nerd rage roll today.
Yeah, Veli. Just look at GameStop and what happened with them. I mean, that was a grassroots campaign there was no reason why that should have spiked other than an influencer, Roaring Kitty.
Yeah, look at that same exact thing. Here's your rock climb right there to the moon. After that, speculation hype. Now I guess they're going to try to buy eBay, but they're settling back down. The funny thing is GameStop, I think, actually is financially viable now. Like they survived. So I haven't looked at GameStop to know.
Honestly.
But yeah, I don't like paying taxes, but at the same time, I don't like seeing. I mean, this is a crazy gain. Even today, that's a crazy gain.
Yeah, and we don't look for that. We don't look for those that are going to shoot up like the GameStops, like the Nvidias. Like I said, if it happens on our watch, I mean, we'll take the win and fight. We're not going to say, oh no, we're not going to participate. No, we'll take the win, but that's not the thesis of our portfolio. It's safe investing over time to make millions.
E-Trade is what I went to from Scottrade, Matt. I went from Scottrade to E-Trade. I've had an E-Trade account for a long time. Spartacus, but I see it this way. No one can take this away from me. They're a closed community. To let someone in, they have to have help from someone who is Trump. That was enough. I'm not sure. I keep going back and forth. I'm not sure if Trump is actually like part of the swamp or not. I don't think he is. Maybe he is. Maybe he is now. I don't think he was initially though. I don't know. I think there's what did Elon say? There's a Trump derangement syndrome. I think that's a real thing too. I think he could like cure cancer and they would just be mad somehow.
Yeah.
He's taking money away from pharmaceutical companies. That jerk. What? What was a GameStop owner who said, I want to buy eBay? Yeah. Yeah, it was. I think it was the CEO, the guy who owns it. He said, "Yeah, I'm gonna buy eBay."
Like 56 billion.
They must have some cash. We can look at that. See if they got some cash. Do they have cash? What do they do with all that money people gave them?
Trying to buy eBay, and eBay said, "Nah, we're doing all right."
Oh, they got some cash.
Yeah.
Look how bad that speculation hit them. So 2022 to 2026. You start with 685 million, then you go in the hole.
Yep.
You are in the
Deeper
hole.
in the hole.
That's where the shorts came in. So, and then all of a sudden, $5 billion. Boom. There you go. Up to $6 billion. So he's trying to buy. He's leveraged buying it, but they have cash flow now to actually do something. They started with $635 million in the bank total. Now, think about that for a minute. When you look at where's their cash from operations?
Yes, Valley.
Until it goes down to 20. Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, I'd buy them again. I'd be a little upset about the $12,000 of equity that we lose. But I would still buy more. I would still buy more. Are they actually making money now? They are.
232 million.
Wow, what a turnaround story. Roaring Kitty really, he saved them.
He did. Maybe
he'll sit on the board there after the SEC vets him again. I think they held all of his stock positions. They won't let him sell them. They came up, he comes out of hiding. He's like, oh, yeah, hey, I'm back. And it was like the same month that they were coming due. Like his stocks were coming on due.
He sold some.
That's funny. Good for him, though. I mean, good for, they saved a company.
I think he sold his call positions.
Whirlpool. This is the article on Whirlpool. Somebody said, hey, well, I think it was one of you guys, I don't remember which one, said, should we buy Whirlpool? Well, at the time, it looked like they were on sale. They weren't making a lot of money. And now, I got this little halo of light on me. If I lean this way, it goes away. Mm-hmm. There. So if I want to be holy. We said tariffs were going to affect them. We didn't know how badly it'll affect them. So there's now articles talking about, hey, Whirlpool says Iran war caused recession-level industry decline in the United States. Well, sure, but I think it's more exclusive to people just not buying Whirlpool products than it is just Whirlpool.
Now, there is a supply chain issue, right? I mean, still, there was the COVID supply chain issue, but there's still a problem getting certain products into the United States. Because I have a Blackstone E electric griddle that the hood broke, and as they're doing it under warranty, but it's taken months because of supply chain issues. They can't get the parts for it.
That's my problem with my daughter's little electric scooter. She saw a cute boy. She's only 10. It scares me. Decided to show off with their scooter, and somehow she fell off the scooter onto the throttle and like destroyed the throttle. I don't know how you do that because it's like really awkward to get it in that position. So I almost kind of wish I could have like seen the fall and then recorded it for her wedding day. But yeah, tried to buy a replacement throttle, and it's been out of stock for the past 5 months. She's like, when am I get my scooter fixed? I don't know, I'm with a hot wire or something, I guess. But same thing as you, can't get the stuff. So Whirlpool is not wrong that hey, this has really affected them, but they're not alone. Like they're acting like this is only affecting. They say, oh, it's the industry wide, sure, but there's other companies that do what they do that are actually a little bit more profitable. Something I do like seeing. Let's go look at quarterly because they're talking recent stuff. This is good. Last time we looked at them, that's like what you see here is bad. Obviously, it's 2024, but from there on out, it's much better.
Good. Going up.
Yep. So they're in a recovery mode. I don't think that's just quarterly. Let's make sure they're not diluting real quick, because we need to find another value play for next month. But yeah, no, their shares outstanding are flat. Right around now, if you were talking about buying a stock, I wanted to, before we said, hey, let's look at Whirlpool seriously, I wanted to actually look at how the tariffs would affect them. And this is where you can see it. Look at their cash from operations. That's 1.4.
Losing money.
Yeah, that's $2.4 billion, right? Yeah, $1 billion that they lost from operating. And their net income for Q1 2026, negative $82 million. That's why this article came up.
That's not how you run a business.
I wouldn't want to be in their position right now, because the Whirlpool, they're here in Michigan, and they used to be...
I've done work for them.
Used to be a great place to be, but...
I've been to most of their plants.
Look at all the net change in cash. They are bleeding. I think what you're going to see with these guys is what I would like to see to be able to buy them. This is me. I would like to see them come out with net operating cash flow, like keep that trajectory that they're going, but actually have it show up in their cash from operations. Their accounts payable and everything is like it's killing them. So I think what you're going to see is they're probably going to dilute their shares a little bit, something like that, if their revenue doesn't improve. I do not see that happening, and I see this happening to not just Whirlpool. Like he's right in the point that he says that, hey, this has really affected our revenue, but I think that like they're not in a position to absorb it as well as some of the other ones. Something that's good that I see coming out of their it was their debt was a big conversation before, but now we actually see them paying some of that down. So there are some positive signs for Whirlpool. Is it a good time to buy them? Not yet. Not for me, not personally, not yet. I like to see companies that are a little bit more positive in their cash flow first.
Yeah.
Intel was negative when we bought them. However, it was very isolated to foundry. Their regular business model was in about a 20% slump, but that was still healthy. And people just brutalized them because of foundry. It's like, well, wait a minute. They still have $11 billion over on this side that they're operating with on a quarterly basis. Like that's
right.
That's good. Whirlpool has a different problem. There's more fundamental than it is speculation driven.
Yeah, and Whirlpool does own Maytag and KitchenAid, Armana, and Gladiator.
I think I have a KitchenAid blender. I think it's like one of those smart blenders. So if my wife's cooking something and it decides to like attack her, then I'll know that somebody at Whirlpool saw this and they're mad at me.
Those are the $400 blenders, the big blenders. Yeah, those are nice.
She's getting to be a pretty good cook, which is dangerous for me. I like Whirlpool. I like the company. I just don't think it's a good time to jump yet. This is why they keep trading at their lows. Man. So I said, I don't want to sit on that board right now. No. Maybe I do. Maybe I can buy enough shares. Look at that enterprise value, $9 billion. Man, if you go back 5 years, they're trading at $215 a share. Ouch. Yep. Hang in there, Spartacus. I think they'll come back or get bought out.
Which would be good too.
Yeah, they need some help. I will say that. Speaking of help, let's help the automotive market be more sane by bringing in Chinese electric cars into California.
Now, to be fair, they're not importing cars. They're just driving over the border for vacations and work and stuff.
I remember you guys looking into car dealers like CVNA stock. Wonder how they profit during high inflation. The reality is they don't. It's kind of like if you look at the housing market, people say, "Oh, the builders will stop building." It's like, no, they won't. What do you mean they won't? Well, if they stop building, they go bankrupt. They don't just sit on $1 trillion of cash like Apple. They don't have it. They're paper thin margins in that area. Plus, it's all based on cyclical things like wood, the prices of just building materials. So what you're going to run into is big price deflation. But here with the auto market, they can't stop either. Like you've got a union. They got to keep the people at the union busy. Granted, Ford and Tesla and a lot of some of the newer automotive facilities that they're building are very few people there. It's mostly robots building this stuff now. You got people supervising it, but a lot of the dangerous stuff is not being done by humans as much as it used to be, which is great. The other problem we have is China is I mean, look at this car. It looks like a Tesla.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know they bought MG.
Who? BYD?
Yeah. China owns it.
Yep. The automotive industry is like the housing industry. The housing industry had some margin, but it's mostly gone. The automotive industry, very small margins. So this is why basically politicians are panicking and regulators are panicking, because you get an electric car that comes in that can perform at the same level as a Tesla Model 3 or maybe not quite as like an S, but it has way more miles before it drives to empty. The automotive manufacturing industry is I wouldn't say it's the backbone, but it's pretty high up on the list of American ability to produce like our own defense stuff and just keep people busy. So if you have AI coming in, then you have Chinese copycats coming in with their own electric vehicles, we're in trouble.
Yep. I mean, we were the automotive capital of the world. I mean, nobody else was making automobiles, right? If they wanted one, they got it from us.
Not anymore.
Okay, there's that MG. It's
a pretty car.
That's a different one than the one above it. Same color, but it's a different.
That screams modesty, Brian. I can just totally see myself pulling into an IT meeting. It's like, no, I need to pay a raise.
Denza Z. It's a beautiful car. I'd drive it.
Speaking of cars, I have VC in my portfolio. What did they say about it? I don't know. What do we say about it? Nothing. Schwab says nothing.
There we go.
Visteon Corp. Who do they make? What does Visteon make?
They design, including it provides a specimen, manufactures, sale of automotive electronics and connected car solutions for vehicle manufacturers. It provides instrument clusters, including analog gauge clusters for 2D and 3D display-based devices, information displays that integrate a range of user interface technologies and graphics management capabilities, such as active privacy. I want to know who makes these descriptions. True color enhancement, local dimming cameras, blah, blah, blah.
Matt makes them. He's with the SEC. That's why he keeps watching us.
I think AI could do a better job.
There's no bullet points, so AI couldn't do it.
So integrated graphic or integrated circuits, displays. Yeah.
I will keep this on our list to look at. Spartacus, I don't know enough about them to speak eloquently about it.
They're a supplier. They're like a Magna or a Donnelly type thing.
Yeah, or like Gentex or something.
Yeah, Gentex.
Yeah, we'll take a look at them. But no, this is going to create a problem. In fact, repo lots are already pretty full with the cars right now. So you got China coming in to further make that complicated.
You still can't buy these cars here, though.
No, you can't. You know what that looks like?
A Porsche?
Kinda. It almost looks like the Corvette. Like the newer Corvette, the front of it, or like an Aston Martin, or I can't think of not the Aston Martin. It's a smaller, it's a cheaper version of it. But no, they that kind of looks like a Mazda.
Like a Maserati?
Yeah,
kind of looks
yeah,
like the
maybe a little
Maserati.
bit. Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, that's the MG. That used to be
actually an AI from the SEC.
Yeah, I think MG used to be a British car.
Matt, tell him to give us a ticker symbol. That way we too can be a shill for everything. Actually, I do want a ticker symbol. Make it easy for people.
Did you see our senator there?
Where? What?
Slotskin.
Where? Her? No.
Oh, down at the bottom. Down. Keep going. One more. One more. There. Senator Slotkin at Michigan.
Wait, she just slotted herself right in there.
Slotkin. From the Pentagon. She's a spook.
Man, let's add to the creep factor by showing a humanoid robot speaking about this AI car.
That's their version of Optimus.
How long do you guys think it's going to take for companies to realize that most people want to talk to other people at some point in their life? Maybe not while you're driving, but you
miss it when it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
you might think that AI is a great thing that tells you everything you want to hear and how great you are and how, things are going to look up for you, buddy. But, eventually you miss the human interaction.
An actual person to talk to. Check out this one.
Point of that article that you were on, not this one, but the other one, is the fact that, like Tesla's, it records everything inside and outside of the car for security and, safety. So when you have a Chinese car that comes in, and right now it's just your personal car, you're renting it or whatever, you drive it through Tijuana into California to, you're going to San Diego or whatever to work. It records everything. And if you work at, say, an Air Force base in San Diego or the Naval Yard, and you drive this thing in and it's recording everything, the position, the GPS. It has your phone. You put your phone in and it connects to it and takes all your data from it. There's no laws stating that it can't do that because it was not manufactured here, nor is it sold here or imported here. So it doesn't have to adhere to any of the laws. It's just a car you drove in and drove out, your personal car. So there's a big, I guess, security risk, national security risk with these cars coming in. That's the whole idea that the article was trying to, and Slotkin was trying to impose, was we can't just have these cars, but there's no law saying they can't drive it in. Like the road commission or whatever, that it's not our problem. It's like, it just comes in like any other car.
So what you're saying is if I park my Chinese electric car and put in GPS that I need to go to the grocery store and somehow end up in Area 51, I might have a problem.
You would.
I would have a problem.
Because they'd probably shoot you.
I'm not controlling it, I swear.
I can't stop it.
Now, probably what I will do if that keeps going is you'll end up seeing me in like a pimped out Chrysler LeBaron with the Puff Daddy white leather seats. Or something old school, like a Pontiac Bonneville from 1993 or whatever. Just something like that. The engine is still alive. It's got 486,000 miles on it. Only changed the oil once.
No electronics. So
it's got an 8-track. That's my new car.
Got a 69 Barracuda. There's no electronics. You can't find parts for it, and it's expensive as hell to fix, but it's safe. Well, it's not safe because if you get in an accident, you'll die, but it's safe other than that as far as national security and taking my data.
Yeah, I love how people that complain about car safety isn't what it used to be. I was like, yeah, you're right. It isn't what it used to be. Back in the 70s, if you got into an accident, you stuck to the dashboard. You didn't bounce off. You just stayed there.
There was no crumple zones. It just crushed through everything because it was a big steel frame with, a big steel side panel, and
I do think it's interesting seeing like I saw a video of it. Was a I can't think of that. It was a very big car. It was a 1970s Chevelle, I think. No,
Chevelle.
maybe it was a Malibu. I think it was a Malibu. Very, very. So the ones where like they had that big back pain class, so you could kind of just like lay up in the back and lay down behind the back seats. It was one of those.
Like a Bonneville.
Yeah, bigger than that. It was older than the Bonneville. Yeah, bigger than the Bonneville. It
LTD.
I think it hit like some kind of like a Chevy Bolt or something like that, and you could see the front quarter panel has like this dent, and you look at the Bolt and it's a pretzel.
It just sliced through it.
The funny thing is the person in the big car like got out, and I think they hurt their leg or something. So a little bit of a injury there. The person in the Bolt, they actually had no injuries at all, but their car, I mean, how did you figure out how they get out of the car? There's like no car left.
Just airbags everywhere. Big balloon, inflated.
I think what they did was they took one of those pop things where if you got like a dent in the side of your car, they screw a little tiny hole in it and then they pop it out with a suction cup. And then they fix the dimples in it with a Bondo or something. But I think that's what they did to fix that car, and it just looked like brand new. But like something happens to a car like that today, it's just junk. I don't like that about today's stuff. It's all made to be super replaceable. It's just throw it away. I don't like that type of engineering. Speaking of drops, what do you think of ZTS after the drop? Will it be a good buy now? I don't know. What do you think, Brian?
I think at some point we need to make a locals or Patreon so we could just talk about all these in Patreon. Yeah. Make you be a member to give us all your advice.
Yeah, I think Spartacus will add this. We'll take a look at it. Remind us as we start looking into the depths of these a little bit more.
I don't even know what this company is. I've never heard of it.
They commercialize medicine. So instead of you getting vaccinated for free, they make you pay.
Yeah.
I only have a few more articles here, so if you guys got other questions, ask them before we go. We're not done yet. The big thing I got here is the Clean Technica talks about a solid-state EV battery that's going to crush the fossil fuel industry. This is from a company that is able to produce a battery that's 30% lighter and is able to charge much, much more quickly, like almost 90% in less than 10 minutes. So basically, I think I posted it. Yes, I did. So it's the one I posted a few minutes ago. The company's name is Factorial. So I'm not sure what how this is going to go. It's a special acquisition company right now that is going to be making them go public. They're called SPACs. We've talked about them intermittently over the past few years. But basically it says the agreement enables Factorial to vault itself into IPO with a listing on the NASDAQ and the National Association of Security Dealers of Automated Quotations. They are valuing it at $1.1 billion on a pre-money, pre-merger basis. So if you take a look at this, they're looking at stock symbol FAC. What I want to know with this company in particular, because I think they said that a couple big purchasers were coming in there. I think like Kia was one of them, and I thought Mercedes was another one, but let me double check that because it's been a while since I read this. So Factorial Energy is a case in point. They have stakeholders where Mercedes-Benz bought them and Hyundai and Kia. So that's the one that I was missing was Hyundai that are buying them. Now this is a EV moment that if you bought a car that's an EV, unless they have a way to replace the battery easily, something like this is going to come in there and just absolutely crush that car's value very quickly. This is one of the reasons why I hesitate to buy a new car, because this stuff is changing so rapidly. But if you're looking at a pretty high risk, potentially good opportunity, this might be one to take a look at, assuming they have more than just those companies buying into them. What I'm looking for mostly in this case is what kind of patents do they have to their process and how all that works. So this is one company that we're going to be looking at a little bit more in depth over the next few months, because we have Rumble as a growth play. We have PayPal, which is not really a dividend income company. It's more of a dividend growth company. And then I want to add another risky company to the play, but I want it to be more in the supplier space for energy. And this is one company that could do that. We've been looking for a long time, this and agriculture. But I think that if we can find a way to put solid state batteries, these guys have got a good patent process. And what I would hope for is logistics. This could be a one that could go really far, but I don't know enough about it. I just came across this as I was looking for things. I thought, oh, okay, let's talk about these guys and see where this goes. So they got $100 million committed capital from institutional investors, which is a good thing. It's not private like Doroni. And this is kind of where their battery comes into play. So I don't know how this fleshes out against the bazillion of other solid state batteries and semi-solid state batteries that are out there. You're going to have to pay attention to the patents and who actually capitalizes on the big manufacturing process that these tie into.
And do they actually have a product that works?
Exactly.
That's the big one.
Yep. So we're going to be looking at this more, and we'll have to see what happens. So another article in the space. This is one that, Brian, I think you said that you heard about this a while ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw these a few years ago. But it wasn't like actually being used. It was being tested and see if it was viable back then.
So in addition to the battery space, you need a place to charge those batteries. So right now, this is talking about there's like a major university that did a study. They're creating big hollowed concrete balls. It's just regular old concrete. They're not my balls. They're big concrete balls they put in the ocean.
And they're completely different than Trump's balls.
Yes, they're not gold. So he'd paint them. I could see him in his little scuba gear. Just paint this my color. This is my color. Nobody paints balls like I paint balls. So anyways. So what they're doing is they determined, like, as you get deeper into the ocean, the water pressure gets really heavy. And that water pressure obviously becomes crushingly brutal beyond a certain depth. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to capitalize that for energy purposes. So what they have like a pump inside this hollowed out concrete ball. And what it does is when they need to grab energy, here's the picture here, they will let the pressure of the ocean just fill it up, and that will spin a wheel. That's basically what electricity does, spin some kind of copper wheel. And then when it needs to discharge some of that, the pump to pump the water out will then like get it to be able to the point where it can fill up again and create more electricity. The process is at about 600 meters down. That's where it's not going to be super expensive to build it, but it's also not going to be to the point where the pump can't actually pump the water back out once it's generated the electricity. It's an ingenious system because it doesn't require super complicated things to make, and these things supposedly will last a really long time. So I don't think this is commercialized yet, but it can supposedly produce a lot more energy than most people think it does. Like this cost estimates are modeled a reference storage park for 6 spheres. So there's only 6 of them. They're pretty big. Like these are the size of like a small house. But the 6 of them can produce 30 megawatts of combined input. That's a lot for what amounts to be a concrete ball. So, and supposedly these things will last like 30, 40, 50 years before they have too many big problems. And they're going to tie it into an existing like solar collectors or an existing offshore substations where then they pump it back into the city grid. I think this is brilliant.
And you could use regular concrete because they're not going so deep that it just crushes it. You got to use specialized materials. But there's enough pressure from the 500 meters of ocean to shove it into the intake there.
Yeah, and regular just like pumps work on it too.
It's a bunch of tiny Hoover dams in there.
Yeah, I think this is really cool. So if you're looking at two things, that FAC stock symbol. I want to learn more about those. And then this one, I'd like to learn a little bit more about like what companies are actually using this. I think what probably happened, if I had to guess, because the electrical grid is very regulated already, it'll probably be the process of producing that is what is patented or sold off. And then you'll see like governments and public boards take advantage of that and then use it for where they could. Like they could use it in some places in Lake Michigan, not too many.
But Lake Superior is the deepest, so you could easily put it in the bottom of Lake Superior.
There's a pretty steep cliff, so I'm not sure how much could go there, but for like California, off the coast of New York, like there's a huge abyssal shelf that's it only makes up 9% of the Earth. So if you look at the Earth and you look at the ocean and you look at the continental crust, and then I'm getting nerdy for a minute, but you look at what goes down into before you get to the abyssal shelf, there's still a lot of this ocean's floor that stuff could be put on that's relatively serviceable. You just got to run a cable down there. And people are like, oh, well, that doesn't sound very reliable. Well, I mean, if you're doing the internet, granted, there's only like half a dozen ships that are servicing these fiber lines, but that is how the United States is able to talk to other countries online. You got these big fiber cables that are buried down in the ocean.
Yep.
So
now I don't think this picture is. I think this is just a different picture depicting balls on the ocean. I don't think this is the actual product.
Those are actually tennis balls. They've been sitting there since Atlantis was destroyed.
I think there's actual concrete balls down there, but I don't think that's the ones for... Because if you look at the pictures of the schematics, it doesn't look like that.
Said image credit, Fraunhofer, IEE. Oh, it's Internet Explorer. Those are actually internet balls. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
No,
it's IEEE. It's not IEEE, so it's not the...
POE++++.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think this is really cool. So when we're looking at potential companies to invest in, this is the path I'm going. We want to solve problems with the money that we put in, not just try to profit off of them and run off into the sunset. So this solves some pretty big energy problems that until we figure out fusion and making that really efficient, which it's not right now, and we don't create a sun that blows up the whole Earth accidentally through that process, something like this is a really good idea.
We tried to make a sun and we made a black hole and it swallowed the Earth.
And the last thing I have. This is all you, Brian.
Trump is slowly releasing UAP files, or UFO, for the old timers who remember that. They changed the name. So yeah, I mean, they reference a video where Obama was in an interview and the guy asked him, are aliens real? And Obama said, yeah, but I've never seen one. So he admitted that was UFOs are real and aliens are real. Yeah, it was just a couple months ago. And then they asked Trump and he said, yeah, Obama just came out and said UFOs are real. And he said, oh, he shouldn't have done that. He's releasing classified information.
You know what I would do?
That yes, they are, but it's classified.
You know what I would do if Obama came out and they did that interview? It's like, yeah, but I haven't seen them. He goes, but they did give me the idea for the Obama phone. I would buy him lunch. Like, hey, that is hilarious. That is Obamacare awesome came from him. I would do it. So did you vote for me? Maybe. Yeah, I can't confirm or deny that.
So Trump said, well, maybe I'll release them to get him off the hook. I'll declassify him for him. So that's what he's been doing. He started to do a slow declassification of the UFO files, or UAP files, that the Pentagon and the armed forces and the different alphabet companies, or not companies, but FBI, CIA, NSA, all what they all have, but they have to scrub through it to make sure that it's not just a secret project, black box project that they can't disclose. So this is going to be a slow leakage, not like the JFK files where they just gave you millions of redacted files and here you go.
There was some in the JFK files where like the whole page was black, and then there's like the page number at the bottom is not black. At least you know what page you're on.
It's like, yeah, that was nice. So this is gonna be. It's not the disclosure that ufologists want to know, but at least hopefully we'll get some tidbits out of there. Like, okay, if you don't know what they are, then what do you know?
Do we want to watch this this report here?
Yeah, it basically says what I just said. So go ahead.
Okay, I will watch this. So what I'm curious of, I don't know if they mention it, is that I guess the CIA brought in a bunch of pastors from mega churches and is like, hey, just so you know, this is going to happen, and we want to prepare you from mass panic. I'm like, okay, so what's in the report that would cause the mass panic for them to do that? And really, do you really think people are going to panic over that? I think people are like, finally, I knew it.
Yeah. Oh, going back to like the Condon report and other things, they've had think tanks go through this. What would happen if we did disclose, like back in Lyndon Johnson's time and Nixon, if we disclose this, what would happen? I mean, the people are smart, right? It's kind of like the Men in Black thing. People are big, panicky animals. And you know what? A person is smart.
That was that wasn't Will Smith that said it. That was the other guy.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. See, I did watch one movie at least.
You did. Yeah. So basically, they did what you said. They went together, did some interviews, and came out to the conclusion that disclosing this to the public would cause panic and would destroy certain religious sects. You know, that it wouldn't be good to disclose it at that time. There's more negatives than there were positives. So they didn't. It all became hush hush and ridicule anybody who brought it up and discredit.
So here's to Brian's point. Here's what they say. Now, this is Fox News, reputable, 100% accurate news source, just like CNN.
Well, there's an ABC News article too, or video. So
I saw
there's a couple
one on, was it Market Beat? I think was another one that talked about. I was like, really? It's a stock market news article. Like they're publishing it here?
It's a big deal. I mean, come on. If one of these, like your point, if they're all false and one of them's true, only one of them has to be true.
It's
right?
true. Yeah, it's true.
And there are aliens. That changes. That's like the biggest discovery, unless God comes down himself and says, "Hey, I am your Lord and Savior." You know, it's the biggest discovery of our time.
I think what they're going to discover is Obama's birth certificate. I think that's what's going to come out of, after all this. That's what this is. All right, we're going to play it here.
Damn it, he was born in Hawaii.
After teasing a fresh drop of the UFO files last week.
I think we're going to be releasing as much as we can in the near future. It's been in the minds of people for a long time. And that is such, they want to find out about the UFOs and anything having to do with UFO or related material. And we're going to be releasing a lot of things that we have. And I think some of it's going to be very interesting to people.
And the renewed interest came at the exact same time. 17 earthquakes rattled Area 51, the classified military base in Nevada. Now, FBI Director Kash Patel...
Okay, wait a minute. Crap, Trump said it. Let's burn the evidence. 17 earthquakes in Area 51. They had to put that in there. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Says the release could be happening very soon. My next guest has been outspoken on UFOs. He says aliens are not on the way. They are already here. Joining me now is retired Navy Admiral and oceanographer Timothy Gallaudet. Admiral, thank you for being with us here today. So I think that in any one of these conversations we need to start with, you're a serious person. I mean, you were an admiral in the United States Navy, and you have spoken to many people in the United States military about what they have seen, correct?
That's correct, Will. And really, the bottom line here from the president promising to release these UFO files is an open admission that the U.S. government has been in possession of UFO data, videos.
Uh-oh, advertisements. My spam blocker doesn't get them all. What am I shopping for? Apparently yard equipment. Man, I hope people on YouTube don't get this, because now you're getting an advertisement inside an advertisement.
Material evidence for over
I own
8 decades. And I recently joined a number of former government officials in this recently released documentary, The Age of Disclosure. One of those officials includes the current Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, Marco Rubio.
Okay,
Matt,
so
full disclosure,
what do you have?
full disclosure on my
know
part, I did have
back up
to
your
look that up. V was an excellent series.
claim that we have had UFO
Jane
material.
She was
does that
hot
include,
back then.
Is that organic material? Is that beings? Is that mechanical, technological? What do you know? How can you back up that claim?
Well, I've not seen those myself, but of course there's been others who've testified, including David Grush in 2024, about having knowledge of the programs
I can't hear it, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Keep that material classified
Read the subtitles,
and
Brian.
secure. And I know other officials who have touched those programs and been allowed access, and they're all very credible, and they're in this film I mentioned previously.
But you have said you believe that aliens are already here, haven't you? Have you not? You believe they're what? Walking amongst us in captivity? What do you mean?
I don't know that much. I do know that there are non-human intelligence is that at a higher order than us that are operating these craft, and we don't really know their intentions right now. But we have proof that they exist.
Say space monkeys. Just say it. Just say it. That are registered with the DNR.
And as you mentioned, we're seeing
USA
more proof
printed
of, that,
on it.
Of them possibly
Retired Rear
oceans.
Admiral. Now the question is he a propaganda machine sent out to just get us to think that these things are real?
You know, they come out with these articles every 2 years. There's aliens. I think it's because they, like one guy just saw something somewhere or they have nothing else to talk about. This time, though, might be a little different. They're releasing a bunch of info, so we'll see.
Or is this them like they used to do with like Iraq, where they need a distraction? They have Saddam come out and rattle his saber and get everybody hyped up. And it's like, get your attention off from what the U.S. is doing somewhere else. Is that this? This is just a distraction?
Well, the GDP is a pretty big problem.
Submariner who witnessed in 1983 an underwater object.
If not, and it is what they say it is, then I mean, how does that
and that
change your worldview?
Able to confirm was an adversary was unknown.
Admiral, when you say we have evidence that they are, I think, what did you just say to me? They're under the sea.
Unless they become hostile.
Something like that. What is the evidence?
In that case,
is it
there's
the video,
nothing we can
some
do
of which
about
we're
it.
playing on our screen
I don't
right
care
now?
how
Videos
Hollywood
we've seen
says.
things that appear to be diving under the ocean.
We're not going to
Is it
hack
testimony? What is the evidence you've seen that you have
advanced
found so compelling?
Operating system.
Well, it's all of that, Will. Some of these videos have been leaked,
you know?
like from the USS Omaha, a Navy ship in 2019 that was operating in Southern California and off Southern California. And then, of course, I've had eyewitnesses come to me, former submarine officers and acoustic intelligence specialists
Don't they all have
observed
smartphones?
on sonar objects that they can't explain and that our undersea assets can't reproduce.
Okay, last question for you, Admiral. Do you think we're going to learn anything through this promised disclosure from President Trump or, as mentioned by Kash Patel?
Neil deGrasse Tyson
I'm hopeful
said
the
something
president's
that
going to follow through on his word and
kind of got
release
me
more
thinking too,
information.
which I already kind of thought about this, but we're 1% higher in evolution than chimpanzees, monkeys, right?
Well, I'm at least 1.03%.
Doesn't matter. Inconsequential. We're 1%, right? So, and we have we've gone to the moon and we're going to Mars, and chimpanzees are finally in the Stone Age. What if these guys are just 1% higher than us?
So what are you saying? I need to go do that genetics modification thing that everybody's talking about now?
No, I'm saying if the difference between us and chimpanzees, we are the chimpanzees to them, right? There's nothing we can do if they want to come down and take us over.
On a bad day, my wife might actually agree with that comparison about guys. So I won't tell her that. Maybe she's not watching. I don't know.
Deserve to know the nature of reality and the fact that we're not alone and being visited by these non-human intelligences. So I'd like to see that. And I certainly support the president's promise to do that.
If that were the case, if that were revealed, I would think it would be the only thing we would be talking about moving forward. It would be such a bombshell that every other piece of news would be secondary to that story. I'm a little doubtful.
I mean, they've
I'm curious,
obviously
I'm open,
broken
but I'm a little skeptical until
ability
I see the evidence,
to.
and I appreciate you
They
sharing
cracked
some of
the galactic space travel.
I'm conflicted.
interdimensional space travel.
I don't see. The problem is, like, we've got all this technology out there. We have all these like high resolution cameras, and apparently we can see, like, look at what happened in Gaza. You can see the tunnels from space, and the Israeli military is able to like know where they're operating underneath the tunnels, but we can't even get like a better than a grainy basically Bigfoot photo of a UFO. Like, really? Doesn't seem right to me. It's like, oh, but Tom, maybe they got super advanced computers and they can evade our intelligence and not be filmed and photographed. And like, okay, fine. But you would think that with all the stuff out there, people would have at least recorded something.
And they have.
Better than what we see.
But the ones that are crystal clear are hoaxes, right? It's always a hoax because it's too clear and it's too perfect. And some of them are. So it's hard to tell what's a hoax and what's not, especially these days when graphics has gotten so good where it's hard to tell what's real and what's not.
AI generated UFOs. That's what we're going to see.
There's pictures from the 50s and 40s that are really good that you don't have computers or anything like that to hoax it. So you'd have to do, photography hoaxing.
My
double
question is
exposure
this.
And stuff.
What are they distracting us from? That's what I think is going on. I think they're distracting us from something. So what is it that like they're taking over Bitcoin? Like what's actually going on here?
That's the question. If it's just a distraction, what are they distracting us from? It's not the war. I think the war is a distraction too.
That's an interesting point because the United States produces a lot of oil now. We didn't do that 10 years ago, not as much as we're producing now. And now we still have gas prices going up. I think the Strait closing, if you think about like economic repercussions of that, I guess Iran attacked a Chinese tanker. Was it yesterday, I think, that they hit it?
That's a mistake.
Yeah, it's their only ally. Like they're the only ones trying to be somewhat supportive of them, just like Russia. Don't attack them.
Yeah. Russia and North Korea.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. Maybe they just didn't know, but it's pretty hard to not to know when they all fly their flag at the ship itself. I don't know. I think when I see these articles come up every so often, I've got my own beliefs and faiths and stuff as a Christian. I honestly don't believe that this is all. I think it would be stupid to surmise that in as universe as big as we are, that we're alone. I think that's facetious. I think getting past the 9,000 degrees Kelvin wall at the edge of our own solar system would require technology that's way beyond anything that we could think of. And either we're just not interesting to them, or it really is like War of the Worlds, where all you have to do to defeat them is sneeze into like a handkerchief or something, like an old guy would, and just give it to them, like, here, and the bacteria kills them. But I don't think that if it truly was really a thing, either this technology is from aliens that's automated, like if it really was happening, it's probably not manned. I think it's like AI. It's probably computers doing it. Maybe it's like a scout survey and something. Or if they really are involved, that explains all of our, like the Y files. It explains how our technology has just exploded over the past 100 years. Because I'm not sure if we're only 1% away from chimpanzees, as you put it. Like how the heck do you go from nothing in the 1800s to all of a sudden intercontinental communication in the form of milliseconds.
Right.
With high resolution graphics and wireless technology in less than 200 years. Like there's something helping you maybe. But
or being able to do that from the moon, talking to each other from the moon.
yeah, with very minimal delay.
Yeah.
There was some delay, but not much. So Matt says, I believe that when we actually make contact and the aliens come down, we will find out that they are naturally blurry.
I heard a comic talked about that but he was talking about Bigfoot, because why are the pictures of Bigfoot always blurry? And he said, well, maybe he is just blurry. That's a clear picture. He's just blurry.
He's all pixelated like Minecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
He's
is
like
how
the
we are.
Ender.
Sorry.
The Enders. They're just blurry.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the news guy said, I'm a little skeptical myself. I think that there's more to it than that. But just getting from us to Alpha Centauri is, if we can get a space probe to that and not have it get completely obliterated going through the Kuiper Belt, and finally get out and actually still respond to signals once it gets past that, I could maybe see something. But like I said, that technology has to be so far beyond us that, the thing that's curious to me is the fact that they pulled in a bunch of pastors to say, hey, you guys might want to know this stuff because it's going to cause panic. Like, what do they do? Swear them to secrecy after that? Like, Jesus was an alien? Is that what they're trying to say? I don't know. I need to see... I need to see something that doesn't try to protect their own interests in the fact of not fleecing people. I would be a little bit concerned about creating mass panic, especially the way you see people drive on the roads. But I do think that eventually people should be told at least what they're actually seeing and not have it look like the Bigfoot pixelated photo, unless that really is what Matt says, or they really are blurry. Like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's a really weird way to be a created being that's sentient, but okay.
If you want to go like a scientific way, it was kind of explained that the technology that they may use to control their crafts when they're anti-gravity creates a warp field around them, so it warps the space around them. So when you're trying to look or take a picture, they look like that because of the warp field around it. It's like looking in
decisions go.
It's like looking in a ripply pond and seeing the thing at the bottom. It's ripply. The thing's not ripply, but the water is. So they're talking about element 115 that generates this graviton field so that they can maneuver at the high speeds.
Yeah, you just described my stock purchasing decisions.
Yeah.
High velocity, but it's looking like a ripple in the pond. Nobody can understand that.
Ripple in a pond.
Like, what is he doing? Why is he doing that? I have no idea.
You got to see the patterns,
the
patterns of the ripples to see.
Yeah, that's.
Or if it's like Star Trek, they could get past the Kuiper Belt if they warp in, if they just fold space, go
like
from one for the other. Yeah, fold space. You got the 2 point. You've seen that in movies. Interstellar and all those. You just poke holes and you just travel the short distance. So that would take all that out of play.
That would. They did find, NASA came out with something. I think they were saying that there's a potential way to go faster than the speed of light. They're still checking it out. What happens when you're going faster than the speed of light and you hit a light particle? That's what I want to know. Like, what happens then? Do you just start glowing, or do you explode? Like, what do you do? Ripley's Believe It or Not. Yes, they're based out of South Carolina. I used to get their books when I was a kid.
I used to love that show. Believe it or not.
Mm-hmm. That's all I got for today. I think next week, Spartacus, if you're still around, I think we should probably look at some of those businesses. What I'm worried about is as the channel grows, we're not going to have as much ability to look at every single stock that shows up. So we might have to do a members just to get people to organize it for us. Otherwise, we're going to have 5,000 stocks to look at, and I'm only good at at least 2 per month.
It takes time, man. It takes time.
You're making me work.
Yeah. We do have the last thing that we didn't get last stream was the question of the day. I can't remember who.
Mariachi or Mario Chaos. I think it was. He'll come back on. He has to. If Chaos, if you get this, I think what you need to do is ask us 2 questions next week.
Well, the question he asked last week is if you could go anywhere in time, one spot, where would it be? Where would you go if you could travel back in time?
You got to answer first.
Just one. I mean, there's like a whole bunch of like JFK getting shot or Roswell 1947. See what actually landed in the desert. Was it aliens? Was it an alien space? Because if it is, and I was there to see it, it's like, yep, that's it. They're true. But I'm thinking like either the burning bush, just sitting on Mount Sinai waiting
for Moses
to come up and talk to the burning bush to see that. Or
hey guys, how you doing? I'm just hanging out. Don't mind me.
The parting of the Red Sea, like to see what happened there.
They have archaeological evidence for that. Like they found some stuff with Moses recently. I think Ramses too. I think they found some tablets and whatnot like this week, showing that like that actually happened. I'll have to pull up the article, but they found some evidence for that. Or they already knew about it, and Egypt is just trying to keep their tourism industry alive. Could be that too.
They're the keepers of the data, like the Sphinx being older than the pyramids.
So Moses, or what else?
But I think what I would do is go back to the resurrection, because that would be the one. Like, did it happen or didn't it? Right? You would know. You were there.
Better learn Hebrew.
Don't have to. The guy's dead, right? If he comes back alive and walks out and the thing opens, then hey.
And if he speaks perfect nerdy English and talks about the new Wi-Fi 8 and PoE+++, you're like, okay, you're him.
If he doesn't speak English, then you know.
Can you
like
imagine
if he doesn't know that I'm a guy from the future, then I know that he's not the son of God.
Can you imagine like when he's sitting around a campfire and I think one of my friends was talking about this. I found it quite amusing. It's like, so there's going to be these big metal fuselages things, and they're going to call them airplanes, and they're going to fly through the sky, and people are in the process are like, what is this guy? Their minds are blown. They're just like, what is he talking about? Wireless signals and
he's
internet.
Gone crazy. Burn him at the stake. He's a witch.
Yeah, I think that would be. I'd probably want to see that too. I'd probably want to go back and just say, hey, what's going on with this? Or at like the start of everything, just to be able to explain like the Big Bang. I probably get incinerated and like instantly, but you know, but if it was a time where people walked around on Earth, it'd probably be that, or maybe when he returns, like be there present for that, which could just be one of those time day loops where they have these movies where you wake up and it's the same thing that happens over and over every day.
Groundhog Day.
Not sure I want to go through that. So I think I'm with you. I think I want to go back and just actually physically be there. And then have him talk to me in English, perfect English, which would be really crazy. That would blow my mind. Just that. Even if he just said, oh, hi. Like, what? You're Hebrew. How are you speaking English?
You're not supposed to be here.
Yeah, then I would nope my way back. I was like, okay, sorry, I'm out.
Send me back, please.
Yeah, I don't need to travel back to the resurrection. I don't have doubt. You know, there are...
that's called faith.
That's called faith. There are a lot of people who, like my buddy, he died, supposedly. He said he actually had a heart attack, then he had a stroke. And then he's kind of a Buddhist before he came back. And he comes back and he's a diehard Christian now. It's like, what? What happened to you? He's like, oh, I met God. I'm like, really? But no, you talk like that in the 1990s, people think you're crazy. Now there's just so much, like they've done clinical studies on this. They've had, I think it was, maybe her name was Deborah or something, but she had this news article from the 1990s where they had this lady upside down on an operating table. She was clinically, like her heart, to fix this problem in her brain, they had to stop her heart. They had to make sure that they had things hooked up to her ears to measure that there were no brave wavelengths going on. So this is in the 90s, obviously a little bit older technology. So like her heart stopped. She can't hear anything. There's no brave brain waves going through her brain. And when they said, hey, when we do the surgery, you're probably not going to come back. Like they told her, you're not coming back. So sign this. So she did it anyways. They did the operation. You have to look it up. It's like the curious case of, I forget her name, I'm bad with names. She comes back and she starts describing the instruments that the doctors were using on her. She had no way of knowing that. And she talked about, oh yeah, you know, my uncle just pushed me back in my body and just kind of matter of fact like that's like, do you realize what you just said? Like, do you have any idea what you just talked about?
I think you're confused. I think you just watched Flatliners.
No, it's actually, they did a study on this and they had a bunch of clinical NDEs after that where they had a bunch of doctors and try to like research this after that case because it was in the news. Matt and anybody else watching, you could see it.
That's the problem. It's really hard to do a double-blind study on this. You know,
yeah. What do you
like your clinical trial? You can't just like kill somebody, right? And just
hang
see
on,
what
let
happens.
me stop your heart for a second. Can you tell me what happens and then come back?
Yeah.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. But since then, there's like this huge thing, and when you watch online for some of these videos, you can tell there's a few of them. They're like, "Oh yeah, and I wrote this book." You're like, "Yeah, okay, buddy. You had huge medical bills, and now you've got this story that this thing happened, and you're probably not telling the truth." But every once in a while, you watch when you're like, "Wow, that's." You know, doctors confirmed it, and like this one guy was completely septic and his body was decomposing and he came back, and there's all these clinical records that show that, yeah, like he's totally normal again. Yeah. In fact, when he died, God told him, or Jesus told him, like, hey, I'm going to do this so that they know it was me that did it. He died with a certain blood type, and then he came back with a different blood type. Like, how do you explain that? So he had all these medical records and he showed it. And I mean, every once in a while you'll see a near-death video like that and you go, wow, okay. So when you're talking about the, the aliens thing going on, that's kind of why I get a little skeptical. It's like, okay, there's a lot better evidence for the near-death stories. Clinically, scientifically, and even anecdotally, like if you're looking at the people that are just saying, oh yeah, I had this thing happen, then there is of like Bigfoot or aliens coming out of the ocean and like the US government magically not being able to see them through space satellites. Like, okay, how are you, why is this blurry picture there and why can't you see anything versus like there's 9,000 satellites in space who should be able to capture something. Lee Strobel has compiled dozens of cases of people coming back with the miraculous claims. Yeah, he's not alone. There's like they've had medical doctors do these studies now too, where they know it's like, yeah, they basically said that there's something else going on here. What's really interesting is, and this is getting me a little bit too far off the stock edge, but when you see some of the people that like have these experiences, they all describe Jesus across like continents and cultures. Like they all describe the same stuff. They might call them something else, but they're all describing the same things. Like they all have the same or similar experiences, regardless of if they're in like India or South Africa or United States or even Japan. It's like they're all, how do you can't like, you can't make that up.
But on the other hand, if you talk about aliens in that aspect, there's also sightings that people see all around the world that talk and describe the exact same thing
with Bigfoot,
with aliens.
Yes, no Bigfoot.
That didn't. Well, Bigfoot, I guess, I don't know, but Bigfoot actually was a creature. There was a Bigfoot at one point.
His name was Bob. He had big feet.
No, it was
they called him a hobbit.
No, it was an 8-foot tall ape. There was an actual creature.
Was it really?
Roamed the earth, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Looks like Bigfoot, but the question is there still one living in the forest somewhere. I don't know, but
so how did he get to Yellowstone or Denali Mountain? Like, how did he get there?
I have
Some
no
guy
idea.
just put him on a plane and is like, hey, here's a parachute. Go here. There's a campground in there. I want you to pose for them.
Or maybe he just always lived there and we're encroaching on his area now. Who knows? But there's also physical cases of alien spaceships and recovered craft and entities that people have seen that they all describe them the same way. So when you talk about the near-death experience, you could also easily talk about aliens in the exact same way with the exact same evidence.
I wish it was a little bit more like 16K or 4K photos for that.
Oh, I wish that like we have more than just people saying I met Jesus, you know?
Yeah, that's true. But then
wish-
is it really called faith if you don't actually see it, is the question.
I don't care. I want to see it.
He's like, show me the proof. Give it to me now.
I want aliens to come down and land on the White House lawn and say, hey, we're from wherever. We come in peace, whatever it is. Just like I want God or Jesus to come and land on the White House lawn and say, I've arrived.
Can you imagine that if he like shows up during a press briefing? It's like, hey, Trump, hey, buddy, how's it going? Yeah. You're in trouble.
Remember that ear thing? You're welcome.
There was a Y-Files episode, and I think the guy's quite entertaining to watch, where he actually says that like an alien did that. They showed up at the White House like, hey, I need to speak to the president. He claimed who he was, and I can't think of the name of the episode. Maybe we'll post it in one of our future streams, but it's quite entertaining. Yep. He's a very good storyteller, much better than me.
Oh, he is. Very, very good.
We need a goldfish. Actually, that would be probably copyright violation, so we'll have to make it like something else.
Yeah, we could talk about this and debate it for hours and hours. But as Spartacus is still around the virus out there, they were looking at that's
that
not
new
like
virus. Yeah,
it's not like COVID. That's something that we already know about. It's out there. There are ways to treat it. So, and it's not as contagious. It does travel between human and human, but it's not as contagious as what COVID was. So it's not like that. It's a big deal, but it's not like it's not like Ebola is spreading across, the continent, right?
They called it social media. It's actually meta. They kind of became biological. So take right out of Half-Life.
Like beta.
Jesus told Thomas that you believe because you see, but blessed are those who believe without seeing. That is true.
That's the faith.
That's the faith. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm worried. Like, if he really did come down and like, hey, man, I was going to give you all this nice stuff, but you actually demanded that, that you see me. So now you don't get the cool castle. It's like, I'm not giving you a Switch 2 because of that.
Well, no, see, I think what would happen is he would come down and says, hey, you know what? I mean, you're not scheduled for the rapture for like another 1,000 years, but since you had me come down, now we got to do it.
It's your fault, Tom.
Okay, Satan, come on. We got a battle. I know they want it to happen now, so let's do it. Let's kill all these people.
Yeah, it's like let's play a game of basketball first. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah. Can't we play dodgeball?
I don't think I want to play dodgeball with that. Holy cow. Throws it at the speed of light. Oh, man. I think that's all we got for today. Pretty good stream.
We got derailed.
We did. That was kind of the point of today's stream. We made a bunch of stock purchases earlier in the week. If you guys want to know what those were, we did a stream on Rumble. We had to do it only on Rumble because Rumble requires streaming through their platform to apply for their partner program. I'm hoping they fix that because I want to get credit for the restream stuff that we do. So we did it. We made all of our analytical, nerdy number math moves on Monday. At the beginning of the stream today, we kind of showed briefly, I showed some of the logic that Brian and I put into why we made the decisions. If we sell the companies, we don't necessarily think they're bad companies. We originally bought them thinking they're good companies. So it's a lot of, there's some logic there. I think that might help you out. We typically stream every Friday, hopefully at noon. Some weeks like this week are later than normal.
Mr. I had to work later. I get those. I've been getting a lot of those in surveys.
Yeah, they're telling you that, hey, the swamp had just noticed you on YouTube. You need to shut up. What? No,
we talk about Jesus, Tom.
Now we're in trouble. I think we typically try to stream around lunchtime on Fridays. Depending upon like whether or not work gets in the way of the work that we're typically doing, we'll determine whether or not we can do that, because I do have a company to run and we do have to make sure that that company stays healthy and that our customers are well serviced. So, but that's typically the day that we do it. As this channel grows, the IT side is going to stay around, but Brian and I will probably have more time and resources to put into actual stock videos. So I know we had a lot of people asking about Comcast and some of the other stocks. We'll probably do more dedicated videos on those, but that does require growth from the channel. As far as actually making the stock decisions, a couple weeks ago I talked about why I do that. I won't get into it again. You can go back into the past videos about why I do this. So whether or not anything happens, I have to do this for the sake of the health of the finances for my business, so and my personal family. So we're not going anywhere.
Nope.
I don't think. Unless an alien comes and abduct us tonight because of what we said.
Then we'll know. At least,
then we'll
know.
It's your fault, Brian. You caused the rapture. It's your fault.
I did. I apologize to the rest of the world.
I don't think that some people might be really mad with you, but other people, they probably like, about time.
Wasn't that what Israel and Iran's doing? They're trying to cause the rapture.
Seems like it. I guess there was a lot of videos that said there's like Jesus showing up in the clouds and stuff as they were massacring all the protesters. Really sad, really horrible thing to unfold there. And then they tried covering it up. It's like I guess they killed 37,000 people, something like that. And they're still executing people. Really terrible.
It's terrible. Terrible time to live in Iran.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, that happy note.
On that great note, have a great week, everybody.
Absolutely. Have a great weekend. And tell all your mothers out there, happy Mother's Day on Monday. Yes. Or Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week. It'll be a little bit more about world events and how they tie into the stocks that we're looking at. And maybe we'll start looking at some of the companies you're asking us to.
Absolutely. Until then.
Happy investing. It's Brian's fault. Blame Brian.
I'll take the blame.
Okay, bye.
I'll be left behind.
You don't want to be left behind.